as well. 5 for Lyndon James. He's had a very good match, and it's Matt Waite from the Diglis end who's on his way into Freddie McCann. First ball of the day, and it's wide of off stump, and McCann just leaves it alone. And I will say that in just a couple of minutes' time we'll do a quick update into BBC Hereford and Worcester. And Waite at the top of his mark, bathed in sunlight, which is great to see. And despite a limited amount of cricket on offer today, we have got some supporters over at the far end in the D'Oliveira stand as Waite is in again. That's driven firmly to mid-off, but for no run. Skipper D'Oliveira goes to work on the ball immediately.
Yeah, the Notts fans that are in the ground have pretty much been here throughout, booked in for the 4 days, a lot of them staying in the hotel on the ground, 1 or 2 others around the city centre in the various hotels, hostelries, B&Bs, staying with friends, but a goodly number have travelled this week.
In comes Matt Waite again then. McCann Waite sits on back of a length on his toes, just plays that into the offside. There's no run, so those 3 balls will complete Matt Waite's second over, and he's had to wait a fair old time to finish because of the aforementioned rain delays. And as we suspected, Dave, that Worcestershire fielders are running round to get in position. Their over rate is -4, and there are repercussions for not being on point with that. So a sprightly start in the field, and it looks like we'll see Kumran Shahzad bowling from the New Road end.
Yeah, member of the ground staff, not sure what he was bringing out there to 2 umpires. Might have just been bowling marks that hadn't been left out there in the middle, but it's going to be Shahzad to get us going from this, the New Road end. Pile of sawdust here, should it be required. A lot of rain fell in a short period of time yesterday, but I don't think we've had as much overnight as they're expecting. Conditions dry this morning, so it's going to be Shahzad, right arm, medium fast, round the wicket bowls, and first ball of the morning to Ben Slater is clipped away through wide-ish mid-on out towards mid-wicket. Sliding stop there from D'Oliveira, and he prevents the 3rd run being taken. That's good work by the Worcestershire skipper, but 2 more to Nottinghamshire. They're up and running for day 4. Slater moves on to 19, and that's a 42 for 1, requiring 94 more to defeat Worcestershire and register their 5th win of the county championship season, this round 12 of 14 matches. Shahzad again. Umpire Ben Debenham at this end. He goes past his right shoulder and bowls to Slater. A little push to mid-off this time, and a single is taken. 43 for 1. Joe Clark doing next. Quite a lengthy net this morning. Jack Haynes to follow at 5.
Worcestershire playing cricket against Nottinghamshire. Let's see if Jim's listening now. Day 4, Jim Dale. What have you got for us?
Yes, we're here, and good news from New Road. The sun is out. We have blue skies after a heavily interrupted day yesterday through rain. We are back in action. Kumran Shahzad is bowling from the New Road end, and he's bowling to Freddie McCann. Nottinghamshire overnight were 40 for 1 as Shahzad is in. It's played into the offside. 40 for 1 they resumed, chasing 136. The McCann and Slater doing a really good job of steadying the ship after Hasib Hamid was dismissed for naught in the 4th innings. And they've added 3 to the overnight score. So as it stands, Nottinghamshire need 93 runs to win with 9 wickets in hand. Worcestershire will need something special to prevent Nottinghamshire from winning this one. On a difficult surface to bat on, though, they do have Tom Taylor, who's the leading wicket taker in this competition. So a couple of early wickets for the pairs, and you never know. Catch ball-by-ball commentary with myself and Dave Bracegirdle on the BBC website and app.
Lovely, Jim. Thank you very much. Yeah, like you said,
Playing a miss from this latest delivery. Freddie McCann going hard at Shahzad, but getting nothing on it. Just glancing down the scorecard up and down the country. 9 matches this week. All 18 counties in action. 7 of the 9 have started today. No cricket so far this morning down at Hove, where they've had a lot of rain this week. They are into the 4th innings of that match. Didn't play at all yesterday at Hove between Sussex and Hampshire. So they've not got on there this morning, nor in Division 2 at Canterbury between Kent and Lancashire. Karam-Shahzad bowls. Freddie McCann chops it to backward point. Slight misfield by Jake Libby. And they'll take a single. They are playing at the Oval, where Surrey are batting on. They're 283 for 2, leading Warwickshire by 281. You'd imagine Surrey will be looking to pile the runs on and then give themselves at least an hour and 2 sessions to try and bowl Warwickshire out. And were they to do that, they would keep that lead over Notts of around 9 points, provided Notts win here, of course, as Karam-Shahzad bowls down on one knee. This is eased into the offside by Slater. Doesn't get a run. End of the over. Notts are 44 for 1, adding 4 this morning. Slater has 20. Freddie McCann 22. And having put a half century on together in the first innings, this pair have now added 44 together in the second.
Yeah, I have to say, Dave, I'm thoroughly impressed by Freddie McCann. Bowled a bit of off spin as well. Good all-round cricketer, isn't he? Fabulous in the field. 2 players at either ends of their career, really. As Matt Waite continues from the Diglis end. That's just dropped into the offside by Freddie McCann, playing that one late. Very watchful.
Yes, his ceiling is high, as they say. He's only 20 years of age. All sorts of possibilities lie ahead of him. He's already played a little bit of England Lions cricket and be hoping for more selections for them this coming winter.
Matt Waite bowling to 2 slips and a couple out on the leg side. And he comes driven hard straight at the man at short extra cover. So pretty handsome shot for no run. We haven't seen in this stop-start 4th innings, we haven't seen many play and miss, have we? Been the odd scare. The odd one keeping a little bit low. Waiting again. And that's taken the edge on the bounce, and it's found its way to Allison at second slip.
Yeah, really bright conditions at the moment, which is obviously a good thing. Very glary out there. See the sun glinting off some of the advertising hoardings around the ground, and there's a number of kiosks available to the public over in the far corner in front of, as we look in front of the cathedral.
In comes Waite again. Short ball, and he's rolled his wrists on a pull shot there as McCann into the wide open spaces in the leg side. They'll pick up 2. Not timed by any stretch. But a deep mid wicket out there. And mid on is about it on the leg side, so plenty of real estate to find. Did well to keep it down. It was a high bouncer, took that really about shoulder height. Rolled his wrists on it well. 2 more to the total. 46 for 1. In comes Waite again. Another short one. It's a player miss this time, though. Finds its way through to Gareth Roderick's gloves.
Yeah, there's no holding back. It wasn't just a play and miss. He threw the kitchen sink at that one, trying to, again, pull it away to deep mid-wicket. Extra little bit of bounce from Matthew Waite.
Well, there's the long leg and deep mid-wicket there for a miscue. So it's obviously a ploy here that Matt Waite's testing the middle of the pitch. Not express pace by any imagination, really. Matt Waite is the medium side of medium fast.
Just trying to plug that gap now. Allison's come out of slip, gone into mid-wicket. There's a man out on the leg side fence as well.
In comes Waite again. And full delivery this time. It's met with the middle of Freddie McCann's bat. Drops into the offside. No run taken. McCann 24 not out, Slater 20 not out, 46 for 1 the score. That completes Matt Waite's third over. And it's 90 to win. And it's lovely conditions actually to watch a bit of cricket. Yeah. So if you are in range, the gates are open, a stroll on in.
Going to be Shazad to continue his figures in this innings. Impressive. 4 overs, 3 maidens, none for 4. Be bowling to Ben Slater. Second slip restored for the Pakistan Test International. Comes in, bowls and strikes Slater above the knee roll. It's a cry from somewhere. I don't think it was either behind the wicket or indeed the bowler. It's clearly somebody at either square leg or point bellowing out a roar. Very much a stop-start contest, this one. Way back at 10 o'clock on Monday morning, Asiba Mead, the not skipper, won the toss, put Worcestershire in. They were soon in strife at 37 for 5, but largely thanks to the efforts of Gareth Roderick and Tom Taylor, they got up to 182. Shazad round the wicket. Slater just drops it down into the offside, no chance of a run. Notts were able just to ease their way past Worcestershire's first innings score, but only just. 25 run first innings lead. Only Freddie McCann registering a 50 for Notts in their first innings. And life proved just as tricky for Worcestershire second time around, bowled out for 160. Lyndon James taking the third 5-wicket haul of his career and second of the season. 4 wickets as well for Josh Tong. He's got 7 in the match. He's looked in good rhythm, bowled quickly. Shazad bowls, Slater again works it to mid-on to D'Oliveira, and there's no run. Never been easy for anybody really, bar that brief salvo from Lyndon James. He was possibly the most fluent run scorer in the match. His first innings 35, came off only 40 deliveries there or thereabouts. But everybody else has been a little laboured in trying to score freely and fluently. Shazad in again, past umpire Debenham, bowls. Ben Slater again can't execute the drive properly, and he's done himself a little bit of a mischief there because he's driven it into his left instep, and the ball very nearly, in fact into his right instep, very nearly trickled back onto the stumps. It's a little fortunate there, it didn't disturb the furniture. He's been left hobbling at the far end. 46 for 1. Mead out for naught. Only the second time in his first-class career he's registered a pair. This time bowled by Taylor in each innings. Shazad bowls. Slater with soft hands guides it to backward point to Libby. And there's no run. Plenty of connection with the ball this morning, but as we've seen throughout the game, not easy to find the gaps, not easy to just keep the board moving. $90 more required. As Jim was saying, there may come a time where Worcestershire have got to sort of rattle through a few overs. They don't want to be losing points. Still showing us -4. Shazad in again to Slater, and again it's played to Libby at backward point. There's no run. So we had 3.5 overs this morning in 13.5 minutes, so that's not going to increase the negative over rate, but there is time for all that. Of course, if we have a little bit of D'Oliveira and Libby, maybe if they do want to scamper around through a few overs a little later on. 46 for 1. Shazad now with figures of 5 overs, 4 maidens, none for 4.
Yeah, frugal stuff indeed. And Matt Waite doing a similar job. He's going to continue from the Diglis end, and he comes bowling to 2 slips. Freddie McCann meets that full delivery, just drops it into the offside. There's no run, so he's only conceded 4 runs in the 19 deliveries he's bowled.
Sorry, I've lost another wicket this morning. That of Ben Folkes. They're 303 for 3, so that's a lead of 301 over Warwickshire. Remember, a very tight first innings contest. Warwickshire just 2 runs better off. But Surrey going well in their second innings. The lead is 301.
Change in the field. One slip now, extra man in on the leg side. We've got a man on the drive on the offside as well. In case that bottom hand comes in, it's a little bit uppish. But we're at a point here with 90 to win. Worcestershire need wickets if they're going to pull off something rather miraculous.
Usually by this stage in a round of matches you can see maybe 4, 5 or 6 fixtures where the end is in sight. This one would appear to be the closest to a finish.
And this just offers a bat there. A bit of a nothing shot from Freddie McCann. Just in the end removes his bat. But it was indecisive to say the least. Not much in the way of footwork. The ball's found its way through to Gareth Roderick.
The temptation's there, isn't it? There's nobody down at third man. There's only one slip, so there's a huge gap there. You're going to be unlucky, I think, if you feather it through to the keeper or nick it to first slip.
Well, it's a classic one-day shot, isn't it? But you're right, there's a first slip and there's a backward point. Ball coming across the left-hander from Matt Waite, and he's done just that, and he has just guided it on the bounce to Jake Libby, who's quick to react, picks the ball up on the bounce, fires it in. It's a shot I always associate with Ian Bell, actually. It's something that you almost always see him get off the mark in Test cricket with one of those. Right off the face. It's Matt Waite coming over the wicket. A lot of the bowlers, Tom Taylor particularly, and Cumram Shazad bowling around the wicket to this left-handed pair. In comes Waite again, and it's guided in that spot. Third time lucky, and it's going to find its way down to the third man boundary. 4 more to the total, and it'll bring up 50 for Nottinghamshire.
Yeah, nicely played by Freddie McCann. First innings, this pair added exactly 50, and then their partnership was broken. Ben Slater was dismissed by Ben Allison, caught behind for 24. So they'll be wary of that happening again. I want to press on here. They've got a good start.
How can Waite respond? In again, short this time, skied up in the air. There's a chance for a catch, and he's gone. The short ball's done for him, and rather like the first innings, it's a partnership of exactly 50. It's a solid catch from Kashif out at deep mid-wicket. We saw in the previous over Matt Waite test the middle of the pitch, and Freddie McCann was tempted one time too many, and he has to make his way back for 28.
Yeah, certainly was looking to get on with it. Freddie McCann, a little bit frenetic. I have to say also a little bit unfortunate that it went straight up, but the trap was well and truly baited there by Brett Olivier and his bowler Matt Waite. They'd got Cash Ali out on the square leg boundary, and it went sailing up high into the sky. You just wondered where it was going to come down, and you have to say Cash Ali never for 1 second looked as if he was going to be in any difficulty or any possibility of dropping it. Comfortable catch, and that brings the former Warwickshire man Joe Clark out to the middle. So right hand left hand combination out there in the middle. In the first innings, Joe Clark made 34, was dismissed. Another one caught behind, but he fell to the bowling of Karam Shazad.
Well, Matt Waite makes the break through the last delivery of that over. 4 overs, 1 for 8. And Shazad will continue. 5 overs, none for 4. So if nothing else, they're managing to keep a lid on things here.
That will give Worcestershire a timely boost. Their first scalp of the morning. They only need 8 more to win this. Here's Shazad round the wicket to Slater. LBW shout there, but they're going to scamper through for a leg bye.
Looked high, didn't it?
Yeah. So that will bring Joe Clark on to strike. 51 for 2. Taken guard. The Worcestershire fielders all obviously changing over from the right-hander to the left-hander. Umpire Longley doing the same. He's wandered over to square leg on the ladies' pavilion side of the ground, away to our right. And Shazad, who got his man in the first innings, will be bowling again to Joe Clark, and obviously he's gone back over the wicket to the right-hander. Here he comes now. Clark advances down the track as his wont, and drills it back very straight, and the bowler got a hand to it, and he's now got his right arm tucked underneath his left armpit, and then when he brings it back out, he's wringing his fingers. He did that for the team, he did that for his own bowling figures, but at the moment he's just trying to get a little bit of a sensation back in his fingers, because that was hit very, very crisply by Clark.
It was a lovely bit of timing, wasn't it?
Clearly got some feeling back in his digits. Shazad in again, and Clark this time will work it to wide-ish mid-on, and it's one of those as a non-striker you can sometimes be caught out, because Clark is always on the front foot trying to get down the track, and played the shot. He then advanced another 2 or 3 yards, and Slater clearly would have sensed that he was coming, so he went down 2 or 3 yards, but then both had to apply the brakes. 51 for 2. Sunny morning, plenty of blue sky around. The clouds that we can see are the white fluffy variety. Showers forecast for later in the day, but 1 or 2 suggesting not before midday. Clark again comes a long way down to push Shazad into the offside. He's clearly got a bit of a game plan here against the medium fast Pakistan international. Although, to be fair, as I said, Clark does like to get down the track pretty much to all the bowlers. Certainly think on here you'd need to be a little quicker probably than Karam Shazad to back Clark up to bang it in halfway down and get him playing from deep in the crease. Yet to get off the mark. Comes forward again and pushes it back to the bowler.
We saw Tom Taylor do that a little bit when batting, and Ethan Brooks did it a lot, particularly from bowling the bowlers at the New Road end. I don't know whether there's something informing them to do it a little bit more frequently than they would do. As you say, Clark does look to try and meet the ball outside his crease, doesn't he? But I've seen a little bit of up and down bounce.
Sorry, I've lost another wicket, Dan Lawrence. So it means they've got 2 new starters, Ryan Patel and Jordan Clark. They're both prodigious hitters, but they're both fresh at the crease together. Here comes Clark again, pushes it back to the bowler, who's the very definition of miserly here, because he's got through and over there just the 1 leg by. So he's 6 overs, 5 maidens, none for 4. Karam Shazad knots 51 for 2, requiring 85 more at the Oval than Surrey. 307 for 4. That's a lead of 305. There's been no return to the crease for Dom Sibley, who retired hurt 24 hours ago. He didn't come to the crease for the start of day 3, having been 64 not out on day 2 with a hamstring issue. So Surrey medical staff will be working hand over fist to get him back fit for next week.
Matt Waite then, top of his mark at the Diglis end with that distinctive shuffle to start his run in. And that's left alone by Slater, left on line and height as well. And the sun is still with us. Bit of white cloud in the distance, quite high up as well. It's a really lovely day. You can see the trees actually, a little bit of breeze. But strolling around the ground this morning, thoroughly nice place to be. In comes Waite, 2 slips in play. This one on off stump, just played into the offside. Picked up by that man on the drive. Again, no run, and Slater just takes a little stroll to square leg. Has a little chat with himself.
Notts have added 11 in 25 minutes this morning for the loss of Freddie McCann. So again, even with positive intent, it's not been easy to get the ball away. We've just had the one boundary, haven't we, from Freddie McCann.
And that's just dropped into the leg side. Bit too straight from Waite, and they get through for a single. Everyone shifts over in the field. Left-hand, right-hand combination now, of course. Which brings Joe Clark on strike, who's yet to get off the mark. Faced 5 balls. We've seen some very handsome drives for no run. It's something that cricket fans across the country have become accustomed to with Joe Clark. Very easy on the eye.
Yorkshire starting their first innings in the match down at Taunton, where, like a lot of places, they've had considerable amount of rain, and they've lost 3 wickets in 6 balls, Yorkshire. They are 34 for 3, having been 32 without loss, replying to Somerset's 441.
In comes Waite. Joe Clark awaits him. Wrapped on the pads, big shout. Waite likes it. Umpire unmoved, though. Just caught on the crease a bit there, Joe Clark.
Yeah, just wondered, the impossible angle, of course, and we are behind glass as well, but I just wondered if there was an inside edge on that one. Again, it's difficult to pick up, really, on the monitor we've got in here. It looked
pretty straight, didn't
shout. It? Yep. Don't know if... Well, I guess we'll never know if there was an inside edge or not, but umpire Lungley didn't adjudicate in favour of the bowler.
In comes Waite again. Joe Clark on the walk there. Plays that into the offside. Fielded by Kashif at cover, so there's no run. Well, you'd have to say that you feel like there must have been a bit of bat for that to be turned down.
Clark's now faced 7 deliveries yet to get off the mark. It's one of those, a little bit like Kevin Peterson, likes to get out there and get on with it straight away. Helmet being brought out for Gareth Roderick, and that is clearly with a view to stopping Joe Clark advancing down the track, or the suggestion from Worcestershire and from Gareth Roderick, if you do going to dance down the track, make sure you don't miss it, mate, or you're going to be stumped.
In comes Waite then. Roderick up to the stumps. A man on the drive, very straight as well. Right by the bowler and on striker. And it's found that man. It's another solid drive from Joe Clark. It's another dot ball, though.
Don't know if it's a good thing or not, but another wicket has gone down at Surrey. It's not going to be a day where Nottinghamshire supporters watching that match are going to want to see a lot of wickets going down when Warwickshire back, clearly. But Jordan Clark in and out, 314 for 5, so 3 wickets have gone down in 25 minutes at the start of the final day there at the Oval. Surrey lead by 312. You'd imagine that would be a stiff task already for Warwickshire, but wickets tumbling this morning as Surrey try and press on. We are here 2 minutes away from 11 o'clock, so see how deep we can get into this Karam Shahzad over before we have to do an update for Radio Nottingham, as this is turned onto the leg side by Slater for his 22nd run. 53 for 2. Remember the target, 136, and Nottinghamshire, if they get there, will pick up their 5th victory of the season. All eyes will be then for the rest of the day on what happens at the Oval. Sorry, we're 9 points clear of Notts going into this round of matches. Notts didn't get any batting points here, so they're on course for 19 points if they do win. Shahzad bowls, hits the pad, there's a good shout, and out! And Clark goes for naught. And Karam Shahzad, who's been pegging away with remarkable consistency and accuracy, he does get Clark trapped this time on the crease. I think Worcestershire have done a really good job on Joe Clark there. They could see he was just trying to get forward and forward and forward to Try and get off the mark, get his innings up and running, but they've not really given him anything to have a little bit of a go at. They've stopped him dancing down the track with Roderick coming up to the stumps. They've bowled very straight at him and kept him nice and quiet, and on his 9th delivery he's been pinned absolutely full and straight, and a 2nd wicket of the morning for Worcestershire, and Notts a 53 for 3.
Yeah, no doubt about that one. Absolutely plumb. Cumram Shazad, actually, I think a couple of times he's found the pads of Nottinghamshire batters, done them a little bit for pace, hitting that surface and just kissing the surface and kicking on. So rather like Matthew Waite at the Diglis end, Cumram Shazad, New Road end, has got a reward for some accurate and frugal bowling, putting this Nottinghamshire batting lineup under pressure. And as one former pair departs, another one arrives. Jack Haynes makes his way to the wicket. Suddenly the energy in the field is up a little bit more. 83 runs still required. Worcestershire, of course, have an awful lot to do to bring about a sizable upset, but they've made a decent start here. 7 overs bowled this morning, 13 runs added to the overnight total, but importantly, 2 wickets. So Haynes on strike, 3 slips in play. In comes Cumram Shazad. That's just past the outside edge, taken just above the deck by Gareth Roderick. A tentative push at the ball there from Jack Haynes. Encouragement from a 3-man slip cordon. It's Brooks, Allison and Libby there, waiting for the outside edge. Shazad at the top of his mark. Tail up. In he comes. And it's driven down the ground. Not timed at all, so it's picked up at mid-on by Tom Taylor. And again, the dot balls continue. He's found the right length here, Cumram. Worcestershire doing a good job of keeping a lid on the runs. They're getting their rewards for it. Shazad in again. It's a little bit straight this time. It's just tucked into the leg side. Bit of bat, bit of pad. But it means that Haynes can get down the non-striker's end and get off the mark as well. 1 to his name. So Ben Slater, left-hander, 2 slips for him. He's been very watchful this morning, sorry. 22 to his name from 57. As Shazad looks to finish out his 7th over. Be round the wicket to the left-handed Slater. In he comes. And it's a play and miss. Oh, sorry, it's a believe. I've done Slater a disservice there as I try and bob and weave round the pillar in my eye line. He just shouldered arms and let that ball go through. But another successful over from a Worcestershire perspective. 7 overs, 1 for 6 from Cumram Shazad. Doing a good job for his side. 54 for 3 the score. 82 runs away from their victory target, Nottinghamshire. They'll be made to work very, very hard for every single run this morning, as we can welcome back Dave from his updates.
Yes, I wonder what the win and score predictor would have at the moment. Nottinghamshire, you'd say, still favourites to get over the line here, but it's by no means certain. It's Waite. Bowls, Jack Haynes will pull this down to long leg, a roll of the wrist, controlled it. Down to Shazad in front of the hotel, and having been sent out there at long leg, single taken. And he just finished his latest over, a successful one. Karamshazad's now got to jog at 100 yards to take his fielding position for the left-hander down at long leg, almost in front of the Graham Hick Pavilion. 55 for 3. Slater on 22. Waite has operated since the start of the day. He had an unfinished over to complete, so we always knew he was going to begin from that end. Bowls to Ben Slater, can't get it into the offside, and there's no run. He's been miserly as well. 1 for 10. This is his 6th over. Shazad 1 for 6 from 7. Sure, it's just blown away from Karamshazad down here. A little bit of paper that he was trying to stop. Just a sign of how gusty it is still out there. His weight past umpire Longley. Bowls Slater just playing within himself to push it up to mid-off. And there's no run. There will be 1 or 2 jitters already, you'd imagine, in the Nottinghamshire dressing room. Would have hoped that the 2 left-handers that started afresh this morning, Slater and McCann, could have got them to within striking distance of the finishing post, but Freddie McCann gone, and Slater's just been disturbed by a little bit of movement. Some latecomers just taking their seats down at the far end, at the side of the world's biggest bedsheet. Now we're ready. Weight bowls. Slater nicely off his hips. Bread and butter shot out to deep square. Out to Karamshazad. A single taken. Beg your pardon, Kashif Ali doing the fielding. I was distracted by Shazad then having to set off again. That journey from long leg to long leg. That keeps him fit between overs, doesn't it?
Well, when you're a fast bowler, you always want to jog more than you need to, I find. They love that sort of thing, don't they?
Love nothing more than a succession of steady singles when you've got a right-hander and a left-hander out there. And you're on long leg duty. Weight into Jack Haynes. Blocks this one. Back to the bowler. 56 for 3. Haynes only made 2 in the first innings, so he'd be keen to make a contribution here.
Just looking at the table, obviously it's interesting at both ends, but just the despite the fabulous weather we've had, the amount of draws on offer, both Surrey and Nottinghamshire and Somerset, in fact, all on 4 wins. I think it's a lot to do with a Kookaburra ball, plenty of heat, but it's a table that reads like a weather, a rain-sodden summer.
Weight to Haynes, and he's got fortunate there. He's got 4 runs. Notts will take them any way they come. Worcestershire had 2 slips in. Had they had a 3rd slip in, he would have been in business. Went at catching height very quickly through 3rd slip off the outside edge and raced away down to the unprotected 3rd area. And a welcome boundary to Jack Haynes. He moves to 6, not 60 for 3. And they require 76 more. You mentioned both ends of the table. Essex and Durham are only just above Worcestershire in the table, and Durham now in their 2nd innings 20 for 2 down at Chelmsford. They still trail Essex by 104. Things could become a little squeaky down there for the side from the northeast.
Unsurprisingly, it will be Karamshazad to continue. He's just directing a bit of traffic. He wants his fine leg a little bit finer. Maybe bowling to Slater. Over the wicket this time. That's dropped into the offside. A big shout of weight on there. And there is no run. 3 men on the 1 on the offside. So we've seen Shazad bowl round the wicket an awful lot to left-handers in this game. Slightly more conventional this time. Shazad in again. And that's skewed off the outside edge as well. There'll be runs here. Can Waite get there and stop the boundary? It's a sprawling dive. He manages to stop that. They should think about coming back for 3. I think it's just 2 in the end. It's a fine piece of work from Waite, and he's gone to get a pat on the backside from Ethan Brooks, I think, who's gone down there to help complete the fielding. He's made his way down from first slip, just wants to be in the game. Likes the ball in his hands, does Ethan Brooks. And when there's a low chase like this, every run matters. Genuine edge, though. Shazad in again. And it's just tucked into the leg side. It's going to find its way to Brett D'Oliveira, though. A wide-ish mid-on, so there's going to be no run. Yes, going back to that, it's a tricky one when you haven't got many runs to play with. It's a bit devil in the deep blue sea, isn't it, from a skipper's perspective? But that genuine edge from Jack Haynes, it may well have carried to third. It was low all the way. It would have had to have been something rather special to take.
Just notice the over rate has just come back in Worcestershire's favour to -3.
Shazad again to Slater. Watchful plays that right under his eyes. Drops it into the offside again. Another dot ball.
So they've had a pretty decent half an hour, Worcestershire. They've taken 2 scalps, Freddie McCann and Joe Clark. They will have enjoyed that one. The Worcestershire supporters, of course, will have enjoyed that one. Getting Clark out for naught. It's not the first time that's happened on his return to his former stomping ground. And they're just getting that over rate trending in the right direction.
Shazad in again. And that ball's a little bit too close to cut. Slater has a go anyway, doesn't make contact. Roderick takes.
Surrey now 325 for 5 at the Oval against Warwickshire. So that's a lead of 3-2-3. The weather forecast, which I had a little look at on the old morning television, suggested a little bit of rain in the capital this afternoon. Well, clearly Surrey feel they've obviously still got enough time to bowl Warwickshire out. Think that 300 plus isn't enough yet.
Shazad in again, and it's just tucked into the leg side again, straight to Brett D'Oliveira, who completes the fielding. Another dot ball, and why not? 8 overs, 1 for 8 for Cumram Shazad, who's had a bit of an up and down time of things at Worcestershire this summer. A fabulous 6-4 against Warwickshire, and we've seen some good death bowling from him as well in white ball cricket. But we found with the new ball in white ball cricket, didn't really bowl particularly consistently. I think the feeling is they didn't quite make the same kind of impact in the red ball game as they were hoping. A popular member of the side, but he's doing a good job here today.
As is Waite, who continues from the Diglis end. Bowls, and this time played deliberately by Haynes, and he's going to get another boundary down here just in front of us. And Worcestershire, as Jim was suggesting, they've really got to either put up with that and accept that's part and parcel of where we are at the stage of the game. They can't afford just to put somebody down at third stopping boundaries, or they've got to go in the other direction and go a little more defensive. But that's the second boundary in quick succession for Haynes, just run down to third. This one deliberately played to take him to 10. 66 for 3, 70 now required. That's almost halfway. Next ball on its way, and past the outside edge and through to the keeper. Jim, I'm just going to leave you to control the ship for a moment. I can still hear Radio Nottingham blaring out on the other machine we've got set up, so I'm just going to get that turned off for a moment.
Well, the perils of having not many runs to play with. So 2 slips in, 2 boundaries we've seen go in that vacant third slip area. But it's where do you find the extra fielder from? Matt Waite bowling well though, despite a couple of boundaries in the last 2 overs. And we see Ben Allison, second slip, just going through the motions there, doing a little bit of warming up. We may well see him shortly. And there's going to be a change in the field here. We had Jake Libby on the drive on the leg side, and he's moved into backward point. There is going to be a third man now. Kashif Ali has moved down into that spot as Waite comes in again. And this one's left alone by Jack Haynes.
Yeah, it's always nice to hear the BBC Radio Nottingham coverage, of course, but not when it's right next to where we're commentating from, so we've got that turned off. As Surrey lose another wicket, they're 326 for 6 at the Oval, leading the Bears by 324, so fast and frenetic morning there. They've had about 50 runs and 4 wickets in the less than 3/4 of an hour's play they've had there. Surrey trying to set up the game. Here's Waite bowling to Haynes, who's on 10. From 10 balls face now, helped by those couple of boundaries. Kashif down here just in front of us has been moved from the offside boundary down here to protect that third man area. Not the one who clearly is in favour of plenty of sun cream, daubed right across the nose and both cheeks. Waite in, Haynes just helps this on its way back from whence it came. Goes up to mid-off and there's no run. Ben Allison is warming up. He's kept knots throughout this game, nice and honest and true. He's pegged away all very accurately. I've been very impressed with Ben Allison's performance with the ball in this match. Maybe that Karam Shahzad has done for the time being. 8 overs, 1 for 8. Certainly done his bit this morning. 66 for 3 knots. As Waite comes in once more wide of the pegs and through it goes to Gareth Roderick.
He's in good form at the moment, Ben Allison. Did well in the Metrobank One Day Cup. Hasn't seen a lot of action in white ball cricket for Worcestershire. Brief stint in the T20. But particularly the second half of the 50 over competition. Bowled with good pace, was accurate. Had a plan A and a plan B. He's a talented cricketer. Good pair of hands. You don't often see, well, I suppose it is slightly more prevalent in the modern game, isn't it? See fast bowlers in the slip cord, and Jimmy Anderson being probably the most famous of them. But has promise with the bat. Lower order. He's going to be bowling at Ben Slater, still there, 25 from 67. Watchful stuff from him this morning. And in comes Allison, round the wicket to the left-hander. And he leaves that one on length. Keeps his bat and his hands well out the way of that one. Through to Roderick it goes. 66 for 3 the score. 136 is the victory target, 70 runs away. And we still have plenty of sunshine here. It's getting a little bit blustery, but we look, dare I say it, Dave, we look set fair, don't we, for a little while at least?
I think that was the feeling that certainly the first hour and a half would be good. Oh, now Slater backs away with Allison 3/4 of the way through his approach. He's one of these Ben Slater who does tend to notice the slightest thing behind the bowler's arm. There are cricketers like that. There are others that, well, I don't know, you could have a brass band playing in a bright red costume at the far end and they still wouldn't notice that. Such would the concentration on the bowler and the ball in his hand be, but we're all built differently.
Allison, and he comes. It's just tucked into the leg side. There's plenty of open spaces there. They'll think about 2. And in the end decide against it. Jack Haynes was like a jackrabbit there on the turn looking for 2, but he's told to stay put by Slater, so it'll be just the single.
Never used to really bother me too much unless it was a dozy teammate or 2 that were just walking around the boundary edge with a tea or a coffee and found themselves right behind the arm, and you'd just sort of make a point just to embarrass them and make sure they get fined later on. The other one, of course, in club cricket, the old scoreboard, it's like a magnet, isn't it, for players. They'll go and stand in front of the scoreboard so you can never see the score.
In comes Allison to Jack Haynes, and he's taken it. Oh, an unbelievable catch at cover. He juggled the ball 3 times, slumped onto his backside, and you couldn't tell whether he'd actually taken the catch. It was drilled on the up, taken above Kashif's head. He spilled the catch. He juggled it, and eventually hit the deck with the ball lodged in his arms. So Allison's in on the wicket trail as well, reaching for it a little bit, Jack Haynes, and he goes for 10. Not a vintage Jack Haynes performance by any stretch. 8 of his runs coming to third man, but that's a good grab in the end. And just the way that Kashif actually sat down on his backside there, he looked kind of dejected, but as his teammates ran over to him, he obviously clung on.
He must have had 4 different touches actually before he was able to truly sit there and smile and celebrate. Great relief, I would imagine, that he did hang on. It was full, it was wide of the off stump. Haynes went hard at it. Really, the only thing that Jack Haynes did wrong was he didn't keep it down. He was presumably trying to lift it over cover, but it's straight above the head of Kashif Ali, and there it was in and out, and then a bobble with the right hand, and then he flicked it up, and then the left hand, and then he was falling backwards, and as he tumbled onto the seat of his pants, I think he had another touch with his right hand just to sort of set it up and level it, so he knew where to grab it, and then he did, maybe at the 5th time of asking. But that's a really, really good wicket for Worcestershire to get at that stage, because I did mention, I wonder what the win predictor would have on both sides, and Notts would be favourite, and what it would be if another wicket went down. Well, another wicket has gone down. Still don't know the winning score predictor, but Worcestershire are right back in this, at 67 for 4. Not quite at the halfway stage. They need one more run to be halfway towards their victory target of 136. 67 they've got, another 69 they require.
Well, it brings me in mind of the Ethan Brooks dismissal yesterday. It's another wide delivery that Haynes was chasing, threw his hands at it. Brooks was caught at cover by Pocklington. The ball sat in the surface there, and he chased a wide one that got even wider. He was caught out, but Pereira's at the wicket now, and he leaves the first ball well alone, wide of off stump from Allison. As you say, Dave, it keeps Worcestershire interested, and Slater remains unmoved, being watchful, and I think it's one of those wickets. There's so much rain, so stop-start as well, and you have to. It's not an easy place to be a groundsman. New Road, the annual issues they have to deal with in terms of rain and flooding, but when you're on and off all the time like we were yesterday, in comes Allison again, and again it's left alone, wide of off stump. But in this sort of situation, you have to commend Ben Slater, actually, his concentration and his commitment to keep his wicket intact.
And his commitment to keep at the non-striker's end as well. That could pay dividends as well.
Well, I think he's just taken what's there, isn't he?
Yeah, stay out of harm's way.
Wait for the ball to be perhaps a little bit too straight or a little bit too full. He's tucked the ball away into the leg side nicely. Allison in again, running away from us, New Road end. That's played into the offside, picked up at point by D'Oliveira, and that'll complete a successful over from a Worcestershire perspective. 67 for 4 is the score. Slater is still there, 25 not out. Verena has joined him, South African keeper batter, and 69 still required, so we're just about halfway. Still 2 slips in place. What do you do if you're Worcester skipper? You keep things as they are. Do you go brave, stick an extra catcher in for the new batter? Well, they're not going to make it easy for you, Dave, are they? If they are to get home, Nottinghamshire.
It's not for me. 67 for 4. Wait in to Slater. Lets it go through to the keeper. As you'd expect, a number of people just growing more and more concerned. Mark Mugasev, come on, Notts, you can do this. There's 1 or 2 people saying at the start of the day the stream wasn't working, and then it is now. So hopefully no issues there. Bob the commentary magpie, breathe Bob. He says nothing like a nice relaxing day watching the cricket, eh? Mark the Mod, I don't know where that is, I'll come back to it in a second. Mark's down in Kent, next ball on its way, and this has helped down to long leg. Igtham Moat. This is too much suffering, Dave. I'm walking at the beautiful Igtham Moat and quaking whenever I get a notification on my phone from you. Steve Crawley's biting his nails. The Yellow Belly says, are we trying to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory? Well, not so halfway. There's 68 for 4 with that Slater single. Require a further 68.
Well, it's in white ball cricket, but there's a bit of history between Worcestershire and Nottinghamshire in terms of unnecessary drama in a game that should be well and truly done. I think the visitors are still in pretty good shape here.
Wait into Kyle Verena. Drags this on the leg side. I'm not by any means sure that was intended to go there. Was looking, I think, to drive either in the V or on the offside. Drags it onto the leg side for a single. 69 for 4. What are you showing me? Oh, that last delivery. Yeah, it was... I think looking to hit it down the ground. Shazad just reminded that left-hander on strike. Sorry, 3-3-3 for 7. Still batting. Lead Warwickshire by 331. There's Slater pulling this out onto the leg side. There's Cashy Valley, who's had a busy morning, taking 2 catches to dismiss Freddie McCann and Jack Haynes. Does the fielding. Tidies up. Another run, 70 for 4.
Well, Surrey fans will be nervous as well, won't they? I think there'll be a few of them fancying having a bowl.
Verena back on strike. Had a natter to Kyle this morning. He was picked up in the South African auction for their franchise T20 competition that starts in the new year by the Paarl side. Play their game at Newlands, their matches at Newlands in Cape Town. Works this out onto the leg side, and there'll be just a single. 71 for 4. So he's telling me all about that and how much he enjoyed watching the rain interrupted T20 last night. Good times for South African cricket, South African cricketers, and of course they won the World Test Championship earlier in the year, and it was Verena who hit the winning runs. Will it be he that gets knots over the line today? Needs 65 more. Slater back on strike on 28. Waite has been operating since the start of play. Bangs one in short, and Slater bails out, lets it go through to the wicket keeper. So elsewhere, Division 1, Durham are 30 for 2 in their second innings, trailing by 94. Yorkshire 46 for 4, still in their first innings down at Taunton. Can only see that one going to result in a draw. Still haven't started at Hove between Sussex and Hampshire. You know what's happening here. They haven't started on day 4 between Kent and Lancashire. At Grace Road, Gloucestershire 99 for 1, leading Leicestershire by 239. At Lords, Derbyshire 60 for 3 in their seconds, leading Middlesex by 45. And at Northants, Glamorgan 49 for 1 in their seconds, leading Northants by 103.
Allison to continue from the New Road end, bowling to 2 slips, and bowling at Verena, who gets in behind that one.
Say a very good morning to former Notts skipper Stephen Mullaney, who's listening in and watching the pictures. So this is more nerve-wracking than when I used to play. Good to have you with us, Malt. 71 for 4.
It's always trickier being a spectator, isn't it? But,
he'd be out there now, coming in at number 6 to get them over the line, the finisher.
Allison in again on a good length, big shout. Roderick likes it. And there's a chance of the stumps run out there as well.
Well, it's all happening. It was dropped on the leg side. Everybody looking towards umpire Debenham to see if he was going to give Verena out LBW. Verena was 4 or 5 paces down the track. Ben Slater going nowhere suggested that Verena might like to get back.
Oh, we'd have been in real trouble as well, Dave. He'd have been in real trouble if that hits. It wasn't a bad shout for LBW either. I think a hint of it going down leg side.
I think this is Latigan, isn't it, who came in from mid-wicket and underarmed it towards the stumps. He's another one who's been picked up for big money. Young man, they're expecting big things of Dan Latigan. He's been picked up for big money.
Yeah. Well,
slight delay here, I think.
Signed for MI Cape Town.
Yeah, Varane has asked for some new gloves to be brought out. They always do this, don't they? The top-class players, when they dive in the dirt, instantly they ask for some new gloves to be brought out. Wants something else as well, doesn't he? He's got a drink. Still waving to the dressing room.
Well, it was a good shout from Allison, but yeah, he was on his bike. He'd fancy Latigan actually to hit from there. But he's made a mess of his whites. Probably a...
don't know if it's a thigh pad issue. Some sort of wardrobe malfunction, which isn't going to speed things up.
Well, we've had bad light, we've had rain, we've had concussion protocol. Now we've got a thigh pad issue to stop play. Why not? Let's get the full set in this 4-day game. Well, he's got himself some new kit. Just be some gloves.
Might have brought him some left-handed ones out. He certainly didn't want those that were brought out to him. So Notts this morning have lost the wickets of Freddie McCann, Joe Clark, Jack Haynes. Ben Slater has dodged all the dangers so far. He's 28 not out, having been at the crease already in this innings for just over 3 hours. Just a sample there of how tricky it's been to score runs. 71 for 4.
Worcestershire as a general policy, they've been just wide of off stump, the odd one that moves away, the odd one that moves in. We've seen a little bit of short stuff as well from Matt Waite, which actually did for Freddie McCann in the end. Back underway, Allison in, and that's punched on the back foot, on his toes, picked up by Cumram Shazad, but not before they scamper through for a single.
Just taken note of the time, Jim. We're just 11:30ish or thereabouts. Of course, we started at 10:30, 40 for 1. So even with positive intent knots, they're probably aware that rain is due between 12 and 1 o'clock. They've obviously gone out there wanting to get this done and dusted in around about 90 minutes. They've still only been able to score 30 runs for the loss of 3 wickets in that hour. So they've certainly got to increase things, or increase the tempo, if they're to get this done and dusted before the forecasted rain just puts a brake on things for a while.
Allison on his way into Slater, round the wicket, full ball, clipped into the leg side, straight to Cumram Shazad, who completes the fielding, and there's another dot ball. We had the sun has left us. See a bit of blue sky out towards the cathedral, but lots of white cloud, which I know the key bit here as we look away to our right hand side towards the northwest of the ground. Thick cloud heading our way that looks increasingly dark and slightly menacing. We're okay for a little bit, but as you say, Dave, we are expecting rain today, as Allison's on his way in again, and it's mistimed off the inside edge, dropped into the leg side. They'll take one, so it's in a couple of miscues in the past 25 minutes or so. Slater just rehearsing the shot he feels like he probably should have played, but this is it's good stuff from Allison. Just moved in towards the left-hander off the surface, and we've seen some really compelling cricket. Sometimes the people who aren't cricket fans think, well, nothing's really happening. There's the importance of building pressure, being accurate, and there are runs out there if you're willing to really graft for them. Roderick did it well for Worcestershire. In comes Allison, and he's bowled him! Middle stump out the ground. It's a second for Allison. He's bowled beautifully in this spell from the New Road end. 63 still needed, and it's the 5th wicket down. And Verena has to make his way back to the pavilion. Slater sees another batter come and go from the non-striker's end. Arms folded now. And as unlikely as it seemed at the start of the day, Worcestershire have dragged themselves back into this game. We've seen it throughout the season, actually. Times when things haven't gone their way. But it's a very together dressing room. A real team spirit within this pair's side. And they are fighting tooth and nail to stay in this contest. 63 runs still required. Nottinghamshire 73 for 5.
New man is Lyndon James. Crumb of comfort Notts will have seeing Lyndon James go out is that probably played the most fluent innings of anybody in the match in the first. Really did time the ball sweetly. He's had a very good game. Lyndon James doesn't necessarily follow that he'll find it just as easy this time, but 35 from 42, 7 fours, played some really lovely shots. Stylish player. Had a big day yesterday, taking 5 wickets, maybe the best he's bowled for Nottinghamshire in truth, and they needed him with Mohammed Abbas off the field and able to bowl. So he performed yesterday. Really like to carry that on and really make it a golden contest for the all-rounder. But Notts need some runs from somewhere. They've still got Ben Slater there, of course. He's on 29, top scorer in the innings thus far. Liam Patterson-White to come, then Josh Tong, Dylan Pennington, and of course Mohammed Abbas, who we haven't seen since going off the field on day 2.
Well, Verena never really looked comfortable, did he, out there? Moved back in, done for pace.
So Wade into his second hour of bowling this morning, and there's a really good delivery that nips back and beats Ben Slater on the outside. I don't think Slater went hard at it, but an uncomfortable delivery to begin the over nonetheless. A lovely bit of bowling. Got to say it's very much in the balance now as to how this is going to go. 63. The rate Notts have been scoring this morning still looks a long way off. A couple of big overs and can do a lot of damage, but not really look like having any sizable overs. The bowling's been good. Only in the 29th over of the innings. Next ball on its way, and again Slater leaves it alone, lets it go through to Gareth Roderick. 73 for 5. Notts require 63 more. They certainly would have been expecting this morning just to have a pretty much an unchallenged route to victory. They lost Freddie McCann. First wicket to go down for 28. Joe Clark without scoring. Jack Haynes for 10. And now Kyle Verena bowled middle stump in the last over. There's Slater pushing this up to the Worcestershire skipper, Brett D'Oliveira. And there's no run. 73 for 5. Seems a long time ago since Saber Mead was bowled by Tom Taylor for naught at the start of this innings. Wicket for Waite, wicket for Karam Shazad, and 2 now for Ben Allison. Worcestershire's over 8, still showing us -3. Slater crouching slightly and then stands to his full height and elevates himself even taller as he raises his bat above his head to let it go through to Gareth Roderick. He's got Ethan Brooks alongside him at first slip. Ben Allison at second. We've got a point extra cover mid-off. And on the leg side, a long leg, a deep backward square. The regulation mid-wicket and mid-on. Wait again to his 9th over. Bowles. Slater will get a run here. Just rolling the wrists on this one. Down to fine leg to Shazad. Single. And then Shazad will set off, jogging over to the other side of the ground. A little bit of watery sunshine just breaking through again, which is good to see. 74 for 5. 62 required. Surrey still batting. They're 350 for 7, leading the Bears by 348. One in the capital. Lyndon James to face his first ball from Matthew Waite and gets solidly behind it. The big, tall, former Oakham School pupil pushes this defensively out into the offside. And that ends the over. 74 for 5. Around about 20 to 12. Lunch today at 12:30. Final day, of course. We've tried unsuccessfully to make up lost time on days 2 and 3 with different session times and session lengths, but yesterday we must have gone off 5 or 6 or 7 times due to bad light and rain, and proper intervals were all over the shop. It'll be 12:30 today.
Allison into Slater, round the wicket on a good length. That's just dabbed into the offside. Good tumbling stop by D'Oliveira. It's another dot ball. Waite's bowled 9 overs, 1 for 24. His figures actually, he's bowled better than his figures suggest, and they're good figures as well. 1.5 of those overs were bowled yesterday, so 7.5 overs into a spell. So Waite's working hard one end, Allison looking dangerous in the other.
You can count on one hand, I think, loose deliveries. I was going to say today, but in this innings in total.
In comes Allison again. It's uppish to mid-off. Wasn't too far away from the incoming bowler in his follow-through. So we hear shouts of catch. Bit of a stretch for him to get near that, Allison. He has got a good pair of hands. Slip fielder, of course. You're right, Dave. It's been a really controlled, measured and impressive bowling display by this Worcestershire unit. They've been competitive in a lot of games, only won 1 this season. And Allison comes again, and that's dropped into the leg side. And the one man on the one on the leg side is Kumram Shahzad, who picks up and fields, so there's no run. But Kadir Ali particularly, Worcestershire coach was mentioning yesterday that third innings has been a problem for Worcestershire, getting into a reasonable position or getting themselves out of a bad one and not being able to capitalise. But a lot of high quality cricketers in Division 1. Nucleus have a good side here though at New Road. Lots of young talent on display in this one. In comes Allison again, and as is the way, very late. Slater pulls away, and you're getting a few oohs from Dave Bracegirdle. That was very late, wasn't it?
Yeah, I just felt a calf go there as
yeah,
as I watched it. It was
I think when it's that late, I think the bowler's well within his rights to let go of it, to be honest. But it's
it was like something blew across in front of Ben Slater, and they both saw it because Allison continued down and actually picked up the foreign object that had just blown onto the strip in front of Ben Slater.
Well, Allison's having a chuckle about it, so he's obviously okay with it. Back into his run-up again. Slater waits. Dropped into the offside. Look for a quick single, and they'll get it as well. Good diving stop, looking for a quick throw. But the ball's dislodged from the skipper's hand. So they will scamper through for a single, and as you say, Dave, it's the best way to bat at the moment. This quality bowling on show is do it from the non-striker's end. So Lyndon James will take guard for his second delivery. Allison into his 7th over, 2 for 23.
Raining at Taunton, Yorkshire 56 for 5, but they've just gone off there. Mentioned earlier in the game. Danger that it might blow up from there to here.
Allison in. It's a play and a miss. Big stride forward from Lyndon James. Was very positive in the first innings. He'll probably look to do the same in the second here. The ball's gone through to Gareth Roderick. Roderick has 2 slips next to him. And backward point. Cover mid-off. Mid-on. Mid-wicket. Got a long leg out there. They've got a third man as well. So it's trying to stay positive whilst also trying to put a squeeze on with the run. 61 still needed. 75 for 5 the score. In comes Allison. to Lyndon James. And that's watched onto the middle of the bat, into the offside. D'Oliveira does the fielding, and there's no run.
Trent Bridge on these sort of showery days where you know that the rain is just working its way across the country from west to east. Sort of have a little look at where cricket's being played and note if there's play here at New Road, and then you go off for rain, or then Edgbaston. You generally tend to get it an hour or so later at Nottingham, and I don't know if we're sort of on the same flight path as the rain that's coming up from Taunton, but let's hope it leaves us alone. Well, skirts round, 75 for 5. Certainly right now, this match in nowhere near finishing any time soon in terms of Nottinghamshire at the rate they're scoring. Might be finished in the next half hour for Worcestershire if they continue to pick up wickets. Here's Tom Taylor then back into the attack, bowls to Slater. Immediately that extra little bit of pace, just drops it on the leg side and takes a single. 76 for 5 means that 60 are required. Talk about chalking them off, just getting there in little blocks of runs, but Notts haven't really even been able to do that this morning and move from 90 required to 80 required to 70 required without any difficulty. 60 now required. They've only scored 36 runs in an hour and a quarter for the loss of 4 wickets. That's Taylor to Lyndon James, and he'll get his first run, working it just to the right of the square leg umpire, out to Rehan Adavalath. Notts require 59 more at 77 for 5. I remember Stephen Mullaney, if he's still with us, will remember it well. His first game in full charge of Notts at the start of 2018 was at Old Trafford, where Notts, I think, required 10 to win, and they got there 4 wickets down, 10 for 4. Extraordinary stuff, an extraordinary final morning there as his squaring Ben Slater up. And I remember saying to Stephen, does it take the gloss off it a little bit that, you know, you had a few issues even just knocking 10 off, but quite rightly came back and said no, wins are hard to get in the county championship, and you're just happy to get over the line, whatever. And it's so true. The points difference between Notts winning this and not winning this, absolutely vital to the club over what might happen or not in the next fortnight. Taylor round the wicket, Slater defends. Of course it works the other way round. Worcestershire will go into their match next week. If they can win this, still believing that momentum's with them and possibly they could pull off the great escape towards the bottom. I'll need reminding where they are next week, Jim. I'll need reminding where Worcestershire are next week.
Sorry, I was on the watch. Well,
Slater on 32 and a play and a miss there. Notts finish, of course, with Surrey away and Warwickshire at home.
Yeah, we're at Durham. Finish here on the 24th against Sussex. So they're both in that little cluster just above Worcestershire.
Yes, the momentum you'd take from winning this one, if that were to happen, would be huge. Still need 5 wickets. Notts need 59 runs. It's a lot tighter than it seemed it was going to be, and of course it might still end in a draw. Would be a weather interrupted draw, I'm sure. There's still 81 overs left in the day. This goes through to the keeper, so there's plenty of time for either side to get over the line if we were to stay out there, if we didn't get the bad weather. But I do have to say it is starting to build up away to our right behind the pavilion, and it's around about 12 minutes or so to 12. 77 for 5. We're told to sort of look out for the first showers sometime between 12 and 1. Well, if we are going to get any, let's hope it's after they've gone for lunch at 12:30 if the game's not finished by then.
Yes, sorry Dave, that's where my attention was momentarily when you when you turned to me and I was vacant. Yeah, the cloud cover is lower, darker. And away to our right-hand side, which looks a little bit ominous. In comes Allison then, bowling to Lyndon James on a good length. That's just about outside the edge. Tentative little push there from James. That's just past the edge.
There will, I'm sure, be Nottinghamshire supporters listening, watching, wondering, well, come on, if the rain's coming, why don't you get on with it? But it's not that easy. It really isn't that easy. There's still prodigious movement. The bowling's been good. It's not been the sort of match where the ball's coming on nicely for the batters. Typically in these situations, when you do time it nicely, there's a wonderful bit of fielding or a fielder in the way.
Allison in again, and pushed firmly into the offside. Fielded at cover by Davalath.
Cam's been in touch. Here we go again. Not's doing Not's thing, says Cam. Mandy says, lads, defend well and hit the bad balls away. Got to bring all these points home. Bob says, OK, enough now, Dave. Playtime over. Let's get this done. Chris, all those hours of watching tedious Kookaburra cricket are now a distant memory. This is proper cricket. Come on, Not. Thanks, Chris.
Allison in. And again, a solid forward press there. Again, it's to cover. Again, it's a Davalath doing the fielding. Another dot ball, 77 for 5.
I tell you what, Chris, I bet they wish they were batting against a Kookaburra ball right now.
Yeah, sometimes you've just got to put your hands up and say, it's quality bowling, isn't it? We saw the same with Nottinghamshire.
Yeah, it's been a low-scoring game.
In the flurry of boundaries that there were yesterday, they moved from 0 for 1 to 40 for 1 at the close. A few deliveries that were a little bit too full and a bit too straight that were put away. But other than that, in that brief little spell, 4-over spell, good stuff as Allison's in again. Solid drive to mid-off. Shazad does the fielding, and again there's no run. And D'Oliveira, it's a difficult gig being a skipper in this situation, but he's kept a couple of catches in play, tried to move things about a bit. Got to protect the boundary when you can. They've tried a bit of short stuff with Matt Waite as well, changed the field, set the trap, which worked for the dismissal of Freddie McCann. And the temptation is that when you're defending a low total, that you want to just go all out and attack and look for wickets. In comes Allison again. Again, it's a solid press into the offside. And Kumram Shazad will do the fielding. It's another dot ball. But it's just been a very controlled performance by Worcestershire, which is good to see. Put the ball in some good areas, and they've been rewarded for it. And Duke's ball under cloud cover in September with plenty of rain about. You will have to earn your runs. Slater still there, 32 not out from 89 deliveries. It's Lyndon James on strike though, and he just tucks that into the leg side, timed it nicely. Be at least 2 here. And I'll settle for 2.
Yeah, there's not been much of that, but that was a delivery on the hip of Lyndon James, and strong in that area, just worked it away for a welcome couple. 79 for 5, 57 required to win.
And it completes Allison's 8th over, and an exploratory one as well.
Notts haven't won here since 2018 in the county championship. In fact, they've only won here 3 times this century. 2001, a record run chase. I was here for that. Chased 460 odd. This is played nicely by Slater into the offside, and again certainly a couple, but I think it'll go all the way, and it has. Ben Slater just caressing this ball square on the offside away for 4, and the injection onto the scoreboard there from the last 2 deliveries is crucial for Notts. 6 runs coming from those 2 deliveries, 2 for Lyndon James to end the last over, and 4 here for Slater to take him to 36. 83 for 5. Notts need 53 more. Yeah, Notts winning 2001 and 2015 and then 2018 under Stephen Mullaney. Lost here 2 years ago. This has turned up to mid-on. I think last year there was a little bit of a sour taste all round when 3 of the 4 days were lost because of the soggy conditions. It wasn't the rain, it was very high watermark from the floods that had made sure that the first 3 games of the season for Worcestershire had been played at Kidderminster, and they hoped they could stage the Notts game here, but clearly wasn't quite ready. 83 for 5. Slater on 36. Lets this go through to wicket-keeper Roderick. Back in the early days of cricket, they used to play this fixture at both Dudley and a place called Amblecote, which I've no idea where Amblecote is. I don't know if that's on Jim's radar or not. Of course, they played at Kidderminster in more recent times, but
it's down the road from King Swinford, I think, so it's that part of the world.
.83 for 5. Slater again plays it square on the offside. Out to Libby, and there's no run. Slater has 36. Lyndon James has 3. This morning McCann, Clark and Haynes all fell, and Carver Rayner followed them, losing his middle stump to Ben Allison. Next delivery, and he's gone hard at that. Slater, and he's caught behind by Roderick. Another wicket, and the one set batter Ben Slater has gone, still with 53 required, and Notts are 83 for 6. Just dangled his bat out there, went hard enough at it, trying to force it away onto the offside, and another catch for Roderick, who's kept very well in this game. Taylor, who got a mead at the start of the innings, now removes the other opener. Not still with a lot of work to do, and they're down to the bowlers. Liam Patterson-White in next. 83 for 6.
Well, that's a big wicket, isn't it? Slater's so watchful. And you felt like he was determined to stay there for the duration and see his side home. Really big wicket. And a 50 for 1 becomes 83 for 6. And we did mention, rather fancifully, yesterday on commentary, the idea of Mo Abbas coming out to bat with a tweaked back, and that we'd seen plenty of heroics from injured players coming out to bat at the last, like Rishal Pant and Chris Wokes in the Test series. Well, we're not there yet, but a couple more and we'll be not far off. This is a really, really gutsy display from the Worcestershire side that would have hoped perhaps they could pull off something special, but the odds seemed very much against. Well, 53 still needed, and in these conditions it feels a long way away. 2 very capable batters at the crease, but Worcestershire, well, they'll be smelling blood in the water here.
Another left-hander, Liam Patterson-White, out there, got 0 in the first innings. Dismissed. LBW's second ball. There's Taylor into bowl to him. Let's this go through to the wicket-keeper. Remember, there's a history of tight finishes between these sides. Not in their history have only ever had one tied match. That was at Trent Bridge in 1993 against Worcestershire. 4 years ago they tied a blast game on this ground, and of course earlier this season at Welbeck against all odds the 50 over match finished in a tie, set to score I think it was 327. Notts finished on 326 for 9. Brett Hutton and James Hayes, the last pair, scrambling a bye off the last ball. Karam Shazad bowling that final over. Not saying it's we're anywhere near that yet, but it's all the makings of a close one.
Allison into Lyndon James. It's a wide of off stump. He lets that go. Well, if we get a tie today, it will be a cracking game of cricket, but pretty unsatisfactory for both sides, really. You feel like with Nottinghamshire 9 points adrift of Surrey at the top of the table, They've got to win this one, and Worcestershire at the foot of the table, of course. Well, they've got to win out from here. It's a small matter of a possible cricket restructure next summer, which might change the landscape. But as it stands, Worcestershire need to win to keep their faint hopes of staying up alive. In comes Allison. And again, wide of off stump and left alone. $83 for 6 is the score. 53 to win. At over 8, Worcestershire still on -3, and there's points to be deducted if they don't improve it. But with the fast bowlers going so well, why change it? As although we've got grey skies in front of us here, the sun is just poking through. So let's hope that those ominous-looking clouds pass us by without interruption. Allison in again, solid-looking drive, but it's straight to D'Oliveira, backward point, who collects. It's a dot ball, and he's going to work on that ball now. I'm trying to get some shine on one side, look for a bit of movement in the air as the cathedral bells ring out for midday, half an hour away from the scheduled lunch break. The sun peering through away to our right. Allison on the top of his mark, bowling well for his side. Into his 9th over in this innings. In he comes. Straighter this time, and worked up to mid-on. Taylor does the fielding, and there's no run. And it's cagey stuff here. Lyndon James 3 not out, faced 14 balls. Been very watchful, much more fluent in the first innings. Very useful 30 odd he got for his side. More useful with the ball, in fact. 5 for he took. Key wickets yesterday in the morning session. He's got work to do though. In comes Allison again. Fuller this time, driven, and Allison gets a mitt on it. It takes the pace out the ball, and it means it'll be another dot. And the spectators who have made the trip to visit Worcestershire New Road this morning, well, they've seen some cracking cricket. The Nottinghamshire fans that have made the journey down, well, they'll be rather more nervous than their home counterparts. In comes Allison again. And that's found the inside edge of the bat, and it squirts away into the leg side. Latigan will do the fielding. Oohs and ahs from around the stumps. And it's another dot ball, and it will complete another impressive over from Ben Allison. A lone stint from Essex before a permanent move in the off-season. And he's made a good start to his Worcestershire career. Tom Taylor then, successful in his previous over, will continue from the Diglis end. Grey skies to his back, sun on his face, in he comes. Round the wicket to left-handed Patterson White. Full delivery, just pushed to mid-off for no run. And away to my right-hand side here at fine leg. Shazad is going through some more warm-ups. 2 slips in play for Patterson White. Backward point, cover. Third man is out. Mid-off is there. Mid-on. Mid-wicket. Long leg as well. In Taylor comes. Let's work to mid-on this time. Slightly straighter from Taylor. Putting on a good length at the moment. Got their bowling just slightly fuller than what their natural length might be. Taylor 2 for 25, Allison 2 for 25. In comes Taylor again. Again, it's attacking the stumps of Patterson White, and Patterson White again in behind it solidly, pushes it down the pitch, fielded it mid-off. And these two, Lyndon James and Patterson White, just digging in for their side here. They've seen 33 runs added for the loss of 5 wickets in the past hour or so. In comes Taylor again. Fuller ball driven through extra cover. There's runs here. He's timed that nicely, and it might well find its way to the fence. It does. Welcome respite for Nottinghamshire. Lovely shot from Patterson White. Didn't try and hit it too hard, just leaned into that. Good bit of timing. So the score moves on to 87 for 6. Target now is under 50. 49 runs required with that Patterson White boundary. Can Taylor respond as the sun disappears once again round the wicket? Again, it's full. Dug out well by Patterson White, though. Looking determined here.
Gold dust, these boundaries. And few and far between this morning for Nottinghamshire. Very much Worcestershire's morning, but still 25 minutes to go in this session if we get them all in, and the light has actually picked up a little bit over the time I was just doing my update there for Radio Nottingham.
In comes Taylor again then, and that was left alone. It's good leave, left on height. And a good over that from Nottinghamshire. That boundary just relieves a little bit of pressure. That psychological milestone of being below 50 now. But make no mistake, we've got a game on our hands.
Certainly have, yep. 4 bowlers only have done the damage for Worcestershire. Tom Taylor 9 overs, 2 for 29. Karam Shazad 8 overs, 1 for 8. Ben Allison 9 overs, 2 for 25. And Matthew Waite 9 overs, 1 for 24. It'll be Allison to continue from this, the New Road end of the ground, past umpire Debenham, into bowl to Lyndon James, who remains on 3 with a solid textbook block, which nearly but not quite hits the stumps at this end. It's been a match for the stumps being knocked out at the non-striker's end. There was, I think, at least 4 times in Nottinghamshire's first innings they were denied runs with shots just too straight down the ground. 87 for 6. Less than 50 now required. Allison bowls. James drives again straight to the fielder, to D'Oliveira at mid-off. And there's no run. Did wonder at the start of the day, would Worcestershire give it 20-25 minutes with the quicks maybe, and then try and get the over 8 sorted out with some overs from D'Oliveira or Libby or somebody. But it's been none of that. They've been professional to the nth degree here. They're sticking to their 4-man seam attack, and none of them have given anything away. Been a wonderful display of bowling as a unit. In again, this one down the leg side, and Lyndon James will have regrets that he didn't help it on its way for 4, but be grateful he didn't just tickle it down the leg side to Gareth Roderick.
Yeah, that's a nasty way to go, isn't it? In this sort of context, good take from Roderick. It's a rare loose delivery that we've seen, and it'll be Josh Tongue and Dylan Pennington in next. I have feelings about the sometimes sport just throws up narratives that you scream for, doesn't it? But
yeah, Joe Clark out for naught, one of the returning Worcestershire boys. As Lyndon James pushes this just to the onside of straight, but again, no run. In truth, Clark and Haynes haven't had particularly eye-catching matches on their return. Pennington and Tong, though, to the fore, both bowled supremely well, with 7 wickets between them in the Worcestershire first innings and 5 between them in the second. I'm sure they will have hoped that I wouldn't need to strap the pads on today. As Allison bowls again, strikes Lyndon James on the pad, but outside the line. Tall man gets that left leg a long way down the track and hit him outside the line. 87 for 6. Lyndon James has 3. Liam Patterson-White has 4. The only time this season that these two sides meet, which is always disappointing. There's Allison. Past umpire Debenham. Bowls wide enough to be left alone. So, the end of the over. 20 minutes to go till lunch. I think there was a feeling that one way or another it would probably need to be done by 12 o'clock or thereabouts if not, so we're going to chase these runs down in this morning session, because we're now sort of into that period where we were told to be not unsurprised if there was a drop of rain falling. Thankfully we haven't got there yet, but Notts are still substantially short of the finishing line here, needing 49 more. It's been hard to get to 87 for 6.
Taylor in, and that's pushed into the leg side by Patterson-White, and Shazad's been warming up. We might see him from the New Road end sooner rather than later.
It's 47 for 5 this morning, isn't it? In an hour and 40 minutes. This gives an example of how tough it's been.
Yeah, and what I will say actually, in this game we've seen some excellent bowling. We've also seen, in not ideal conditions, some pretty good fielding as well, Dave.
Yep. And good catching as well.
Yeah.
How important was that Kashif Ali one at the 5th or 6th attempt earlier today?
Taylor's end full ball driven to mid-off and a tumbling stop there.
Yeah,
I think that's Matt Waite over there.
Haynes caught in the covers by Kashif Ali, and heaven knows how many touches he actually had before.
Yeah, it was heart in mouth stuff.
Relax, yeah.
And it's actually, he bowed his head in relief, didn't he, rather than dejection. So it's impossible to see from where we were whether it actually clung on or whether it had hit the deck. But his teammates were absolutely delighted. Key wicket of Jack Haynes chasing a wide one. In comes Taylor, round the wicket. Again, full ball. Big step forward. Met on the front foot by Patterson-White. And he's 4 not out from 9. Lyndon James, the antithesis of his first innings batting display, 3 from 22. And they realise that it's important to try and build a partnership here. A partnership of even 15 or 20 is going to be worth its weight.
Very much so. Surrey have declared 391 for 8. So Warwickshire set 390. I don't think that's going to happen. Can they keep Surrey at bay all day?
Taylor in again, round the wicket, full delivery into the leg side, a diving stop from Latigan, and it's another dot ball.
Kevin Marriott, Notts never do anything easily, do they? I have enough of that anyway with Forrest, says Kevin. Simon, time for Lyndon James to be a batting hero after his 5 for yesterday. Steve Crawley, my aim to put the stream on television, but listening in the kitchen hasn't worked. I was hoping what the eye doesn't see, the umpire won't give. That's a good one, Steve.
Taylor in again, and again played down with the full face of the bat to mid-on, fielded by D'Oliveira. Well, it's not just the players that are superstitious. Are they, Dave? It's just Notts fans trying to find somewhere to sit and stay put if it goes well. But yeah, 47 runs added today, and 5 wickets down.
Thanks to Grippo for just educating me. Amblecote is in Stourbridge, Dave. Sounds like they would have played at the Memorial Ground, which is used by Stourbridge FC.
And again, on a length and just dropped into the offside. for no run.
Thank you, Grippo. Appreciate that, mate. 87 for 6. Looks as if we are going to get a little bit of Karam Shazad, because he's left his accoutrements on the boundary edge, his sweater and his cap, alongside his bottle of drink, which looks to be just about empty. Drained that through the course of the morning. 87 for 6.
Well, he got for a few overs, didn't he, this morning on the bounce. Really economical stuff. 8 overs, 1 for 8 in this innings. It's that pressure at the start of the day. It's been so important. I'm pleased to say the grey clouds that were travelling overhead have dispersed. So we've got a mixture of high white cloud and a bit of blue sky, which is good news as Shazad's on his way in from the new road end.
First ball is wide enough to be left alone as it goes through to Gareth Roderick. Shazad with 1 wicket in each innings so far, and that 1 wicket in each innings has been Joe Clark in each innings, so he'll be eager to add to it here, and if he could just get 1 or 2 quickly, Worcestershire really will be on the brink of pulling off a tremendous come from behind victory. Shazad bowls, Lyndon James denying him again, pushing it into the offside. 49 still required. It's not really going anywhere. Not the pessimist in me, but I've got Worcestershire narrow favourites here right now.
It's that tight, isn't it, that 1 good over, either way, you feel release a little bit of pressure.
I don't know if one good over might constitute 8 or 10 runs for Notts. I still think they'd still have a lot to do. Chasing another 40 after that. This is pushed into the offside. Right now they need 49 more, with Liam Patterson-White, Lyndon James, and then Josh Tong, Dylan Pennington, and Mohammed Abbas, who we've not seen on the field since day 2 with a back twinge. So his usefulness and effectiveness, bearing in mind he regularly comes in at number 11 and very often is there at the end, not out. He's had a sequence of not outs at the end for Nottinghamshire, as Lyndon James will get a run into the offside, and that feels like a little bit of a win for Notts, just taking the 1 run. 88 for 6, 48 required. Patterson-White down onto strike. They're still off at Taunton for rain in that Division 1 game. Somerset 441 for 6 declared. Yorkshire 60 for 6. At Chelmsford, Durham 51 for 3, trailing Essex by 73. Both those sides down towards the bottom of the table. Haven't started since day 2 down at Hove, where Sussex 37 for 1, requiring 241 to beat Hampshire. And Shazad then round the wicket to LPW, a little late on that one. It was almost in the gloves of Gareth Roderick before Liam was through with his shot. Thankfully he didn't nick it. Division 2, they were a little late starting. It's another game. It's a story up and down the country with interruptions and weather delays, but they are underway at Canterbury. Kent 212 for 6 in their second innings. Lead Lancashire by 2-2-1. I wonder if they'll be able to get as far as setting something up with regards to a game in that one. There's Shazad around the wicket again to Patterson-White, and Swan I think nipped back too much to elicit anything more than a cursory shout. End of another tidy over from the returning Karam Shazad. 9 overs, 1 for 9, Notts 88 for 6. And we are at about 11 and a half minutes away from the luncheon interval. There are a couple of other Division 2 scores I didn't get round to giving you. At Lords, Derbyshire 89 for 4, lead Middlesex by 74. At Wantage Road, Glamorgan in their second innings 79 for 3, leading Northants by 133. And Leicestershire are 7 without loss. They require 309 more to beat Gloucestershire.
Taylor into Lyndon James. That's pushed down the ground firmly. It'll be picked up by Matt Waite though, so a dot ball. Yeah, good over that from Kamran Shazad. I think he's not the tallest. He's quite a slight chap as well. Sometimes it just hits the surface and skids on and can do you for pace. Bowled a good lick this morning. It's been in good rhythm. Taylor at the other end, who's become such a vital part of this Worcestershire side in all forms. Bowling at the right-handed Lyndon James, and again there's a solid defensive shot into the offside. Latigan does the fielding, another dot ball. As you're saying, Dave, it's difficult in the situation where you want to try and be positive, but they're bowling so well, so neatly and tidily, that you don't want to throw your wicket away at this point with the pressure on, but you don't want to get bogged down either. That's 10 minutes away from the lunch break. And Worcestershire doing a really good job. And an expansive attempt at a drive there from Lyndon James. Doesn't get much of it and cloths it into the offside for a dot ball. As I've found out that my smartphone torch is on, and I've just been told by the media team that it's not some sort of cunning ploy to try and put the batsman off. Yes. We're nowhere near in line.
It's not some sort of laser you've got, is it, in the eyes of the Notts batters?
I lack the technical prowess to know how to do that, Dave. I don't want any trouble. But much to the amusement of the media team, I'm showing my my age and my inability to function with a smartphone. But there we go. Tom Taylor on the top of his mark, coming in from the Diglis end. And that one's left well alone. Thuds into Roderick's gloves.
Could have done with it yesterday afternoon in all the gloom, actually.
Well, this is true. It's I've set it up so the button on the back of my smartphone, it's a particular brand, it's like a secret button. You tap it, and then you don't have to go through the motions of... anyway, that's by the by, who cares?
Yeah.
Just realised inadvertently blind the eyes of the batter. There we go. In comes Taylor again. Lyndon James waits. Oh, and that's fizzed past the bat. Really good stuff, this from Tom Taylor. It wasn't far away at all.
Yeah, the likelihood is it's not going to get any easier for Nottinghamshire. We're 8 minutes away from lunch, so all these bowlers can recharge and refresh, and hopefully we'll be able to go again straight after lunch with them once again bowling this nagging line and length. Been a really tricky morning for Notts. 48 runs, that's all they've added.
Taylor in again, has skewed off the outside edge. Tumbling stop from Jake Libby. A backward point. Another dot ball.
Another maiden.
Yeah, another maiden. That's 4 for Tom Taylor now. 11 overs, 2 for 29.
Shazad to continue. Certainly time for 2 overs. Depends how quickly they're able to rattle through those, whether we're to get another one in. 7 minutes to go until the luncheon interval. Shazad is going to go round the wicket to Liam Patterson-White, who's on 4. Face 15 deliveries. Just one scoring shot from LPW. Stands with bat raised and it's gone at that one with minimal foot movement. Would have flown away very quickly had he got the full blade on it, but of course the perilous situation for Notts is if he'd just nicked it through to Roderick. There's a keeper there who hasn't spilt anything throughout this match. 88 for 6. Worcestershire do get over the line and win this. A lot of credit to their bowlers, but Gareth Roderick top scorer in both innings. A low scoring game. 61 and 37 not out. Terrific stuff from him. Shazad in again. Patterson-White leaves this on length and goes through again to Gareth Roderick.
We've seen a couple of times, haven't we? Liam Patterson-White looking to cut a ball that just isn't there. Not quite the width for it. That's what pressure will do.
back to his mark now. Shazad. It's no wonder these overs take so long to be completed. Bowls again, and this one just comes back, attacking that off stump, just brought it back. Patterson White left it alone, it kept low. Another good diving take away to his right by Roderick. Keeper's movements just sort of accentuated how much that one did cut back. It remains 88 for 6. Not sure as a member of the coaching staff for Notts what you can really say during the luncheon interval. Everybody knows their job, everybody knows what's required here. There's Karam Shazad, and Patterson White plays it up to mid-on to D'Oliveira, and there's no run. They're all capable players, but so too are the Worcestershire bowlers. It really is a proper old county championship tussle here, and those of you out there, listeners, viewers, those in the ground watching on that love this format of the game, I feel there's seldom much better than this. Proper tussle for supremacy, and Patterson White again happy to keep out Shazad. 88 for 6. At the moment, not stuck in quicksand, they're not going anywhere, but still 6 down.
Well, this partnership's now worth 5 in 7 overs. But the key thing here is no wicket down as the sun comes out again, which we're glad to see, but it's a testament to the accuracy of the bowling, and no little grit and determination from the two out in the middle.
Last ball of this over, Shazad to Patterson White, and a play and a miss at that one. Again it jags back. Lovely bowling, another maiden for Karam Shazad, and it remains 88 for 6 at the end of that over, the 40th of the innings. So this morning we've had 25 and a half overs, so I don't think, even with the 5 wickets, I don't think it's going to totally remove that -3 over 8 that I'm sure the scorers and umpires and match referee will have a little look at during the interval, and Brett D'Oliveira will be keen to see what it is going into the afternoon session. But right now Worcestershire trying to get this one won.
In comes Taylor, pushed into the offside by Lyndon James. Kamran Shazad gets a very warm round of applause. Down at fine leg for yet another maiden. Last ball of the over, cut back, and not much footwork from Patterson White. Stumps exposed, but it's missed the woodwork. Taylor in again, and again more of the same. In behind it firmly as Lyndon James drops into the offside for no run.
Yeah, they're very much in the camp here of, let's see if we can just tire the bowlers out and hope that sooner or later we get the odd bad ball, and sooner or later the ball gets a little softer and there's less movement.
Well, the whole of the bowling unit have been impressive.
Very much so, yeah.
As Taylor comes in again, another solid shot, and yet again there's the stumps of the non-strikers and doing some fielding. Happened yesterday a couple of times, it's 4 or 5 times a day before. But it's I think that's notable, isn't it? With a low total, it's a tough ask to expect all of your bowlers to be on the money.
Yeah.
More often than not, there'll be someone who's just that little bit looser or off it, which can take the pressure off. But all 4 of the seam attack, they have been absolutely at it from ball 1 and given nothing away. So Taylor's in again. This one's well left by Lyndon James, and really focused, good team display.
2 balls left in the over, clock showing at 12:28 and 40 seconds.
I think they'd be wise to try and squeeze another one in, Dave. That's driven and hit the non-striker, and saved a few, and saved a bit of time as well. So Liam Patterson White has got himself a little bruise. Stern straight drive from Lyndon James.
Well, Notts have found it so hard to score runs this morning, and we've had several good shots that have been well fielded or gone straight to the fielder, and one or two have hit the stumps at the non-striker's end, and this time he's been denied a lovely stroke down the ground, hitting it straight into the body of his partner.
Oh, and that's rattled him on the glove. It's going to find its way to third man for a single, and he wrings his hand there, Lyndon James, and he'll get a run for it, but most likely a bruised finger as the Worcestershire players rattle round quickly to try and get in position. They've got another 25 seconds, so they should do it with relative ease. But nasty delivery, just bit of bounce from a length there.
Yeah.
And
maybe that we might not get this over started for a while, because I think Lyndon James asked for the physio to come, and that's going to really delay the taking of lunch, isn't it? Because he did get it, as you say, quite nastily on the fingers. He's taken the gloves off and he's asked for the physio to come and give him a little bit of the old magic spray.
Well, it's a quick delivery, and you can tell he really wore it, because it took a lot of the pace off. It kind of trickled down just past second slip and was fielded at by third man a good 30 yards in from the rope. So a nasty one. That still wringing his hands, gloves off. It's the last thing you need, isn't it, when you're trying to get on with it and try and score runs. That feeling when the ball hits the bat and it jars the hands, when you've got I think the technical term is a hurty finger.
That's it, yeah. And if you're one of those watching on, wondering, well, why don't they go to lunch now? It's 12:31 and they haven't started this over. Just put yourself in the minds of the Worcestershire captain and fielders and bowlers. They want to get another over in, and they've got a batter there with clearly a stinging hand. Looks like he's been given the okay by Phil Trant to the Notts physio out there. You want to bowl at him, you don't want him to, let's go and have a lunch hump and let him have 40 minutes just to get his hand iced and sorted out and ready to go again. You want to bowl one or two more deliveries, as Jim described it, at his hurty finger right now.
Well, it's Kumran Shahzad, who's in really fine form, actually fabulous over previous to that at Patterson White. He'll now get a go at the right-handed Lyndon James, and let's hope it's not one-handed Lyndon James, because it was a nasty blow. But the man in the deep, Dan Latigan's making his way into mid-wicket. 2 slips on offer. In comes Shahzad from the New Road end.
Ball's now to Lyndon James, strikes him on the pad, and a leg by, so Lyndon James can get down to the sanctuary of the non-strikers, and that's just the 4th extra of the innings. They've not come to Nottinghamshire's aid too much this morning, but that's a useful leg by to get right at the start of this over to get Lyndon off strike, and leave it to Liam Patterson-White, who himself might have been thinking, well, I'll stay at this end till lunch. 90 for 6. Notts require 46 more. They've added 50 runs for 5 wickets this morning. Gripping cricket. Patterson-White will drive, and he's going to get a single. Thought for a moment that we're going to get a boundary, but nicely cut off by the sliding D'Oliveira. Also had the presence of mind to fire it quickly down to the far end. So Lyndon James back on strike. 91 for 6. 45 required. Not many in. You can probably, should you wish, count the number of spectators for yourselves if you're listening inside the ground. Not too many in the Basil D'Oliveira stand, 18, 20 of them maybe. Next delivery past the outside edge of Lyndon James' bat and through to Gareth Roderick. Worcestershire coaching staff, Alan Richardson, Kadir Ali, have been on the boundary edge all morning, offering clearly visible support, if not vocal support. They've not been too far away from their bowlers, and they'll have been very pleased, I'm sure very proud of the fight that Worcestershire have put up this morning. That's not to sound, it's not a platitude. They've been terrific, they really have, as Jim was saying. As a unit, they've been there or thereabouts. Lyndon James pushes this into the offside, and there's no run. I mean, the Worcestershire supporters will have been wanting and hoping for that this morning. Just go out there and, at the very least, make Notts work hard for it. But they've done more than that. They've picked up 5 wickets. Just joined by listeners to Sports Extra. We are in a little bit of overtime here. We've got about 2 balls left before lunch at New Road, where Notts are 91 for 6. Many, I think, arrived here expecting it to be plain sailing for Notts this morning. Anything but. Lyndon James has just been struck on the hand. Gets one that keeps low, but he manages to keep it out. And one delivery away from lunch this morning, Notts have lost Freddie McCann for 28. Joe Clark, that will have gone down well with the home support. Joe Clark out for naught against his former side. At that stage, Worcestershire will have been thinking, well, we're making them work hard for it. 53 for 3, but then another former Worcestershire player, Jack Haynes, second time in the match out cheaply. That was 67 for 4, a catch that Kashi Valley must have taken 5, 6, maybe even 7 touches before holding it, as this has turned to leg, and that will be lunch. Haynes out for 10. Kyle Verena lost his middle stump to Ben Allison. Ben Slater, the opener, had stuck around dodging all the bullets in making 36, but then he was last to fall, and Lyndon James and Liam Patterson-White have hung around for the last 20-25 minutes. 91 for 6 at lunch here. At the moment we've got blue sky. We were told to be ready for some thunderstorms between 12 and 1. Thankfully they haven't materialised yet. Hopefully we can get back out there after lunch in 40 minutes time. But the match situation, Notts require 45 more to win, get out of here with 19 points to just try and keep in touching distance with the leaders Surrey. Worcestershire at the other end of the table might not have thought it at the start of the day, and certainly a number of their spectators wouldn't have thought it when play began at 10:30 this morning, but they've taken 5 wickets in that session. Only 51 runs have been added. Worcestershire 4 wickets away from a memorable victory. It's all to play for here at New Road as we go to lunch, with Nottinghamshire on 91 for 6. Thanks to Jim, thanks to all the listeners and viewers this morning, and if you'd care to, come back and join us in 40 minutes time when the players return to the middle. So will the commentary.
Total were Somerset Grey on 441 for 6. Yorkshire Reply are 60 for 6. Rothesay, where Warwickshire are 70 lost and need a further 383 runs for victory. 19th to 23rd, that's right. 21st, that's right. Yeah, 2 nights, 2 weeks. Yeah. Sunday. On this side now. Now you've got to bear in mind this time. I'm not going to do much to you yet. Oh, is it right?
Well, welcome back to Visit Worcestershire New Road. And we are scheduled to restart in just a couple of minutes' time. The covers are being removed. The players are out on the boundary edge. Just going through the motions, a few warm-ups there. Ben Allison. Stretches from Gareth Roderick. And there have been a few spots of rain around. I've done a quick walk around the ground. I'm Jim Dale from BBC Hereford and Worcester. Alongside me, my counterpart from Nottinghamshire, Dave Bracegirdle. We have had a little bit of rain. Just a few spots though, but it looks like we're starting on time, which is good news.
Do you know where else is raining?
Surrey
versus Warwickshire has got rain delay on there. That's me just looking at the BBC Sport website. The scorecards on there. Still waiting for the umpires. Players are ready to go. Where are they? Where are they? The bell sounded a few moments ago. Here they come, Ben Debenham and Tom Lungley. So if you like attritional cricket, that's what we had this morning. 51 runs in 120 minutes. Wouldn't exactly delight the white ball brigade, the see it and hit it brigade. But in terms of a county championship last day thriller, who's going to win, we had all the drama you could just possibly hope for this morning, where Worcestershire, I think even their most fervent and committed supporter would suggest, were the underdogs at the start of play. And as we begin the second session of the day, I've just got them. Try and be objective, don't you, about these things. You say Notts still slightly ahead. I say Worcestershire are slightly ahead. Maybe that's just the angle we're both looking at it, but clearly...
well, you have the nerves and the need for points at the top end of the table. I have the experience of one win in 11 county championship matches, Dave. So it's pretty close stuff, isn't it? Someone's got to put their hand up here. But 91 for 6 is the score. 45 runs still needed. It was 40 for 1 at the start of play. And they managed to get to 50 for 1, did Slater and McCann, before McCann hold out to a short one from weight caught by Cashy from there on in. It's been a bit of a procession. And Patterson White's on strike to Taylor, who's bowling from the Douglas end, flicked into the leg side. That's a good start. That's going to race away for 4. An ideal start straight after lunch. A bit of a loosener from Tom Taylor. 2 full, 2 straight, clipped away. Lovely shot for 4.
Don't think there'll be too many of those, so really important that Liam Patterson White, Lyndon James, whoever, can cash in on anything that's remotely there to be put away. Nice shot from Liam. Takes his score from 5 to 9. I just felt Notts at lunch requiring 45 more. We've seen how difficult it's been throughout the game. Not been too many partnerships of that size.
Taylor round the wicket to left-handed Patterson White. In behind this one into the offside for no run. Fielded by Davalath. So it's 2 slips. It's Ben Allison at second. Ethan Brooks at first. Next to Gareth Roderick, the keeper. We've got a third man and a fine leg. Got a backward point cover. Mid-off, mid-on, mid-wicket as well. It's been a similar sort of story throughout this innings, really. As Worcestershire try and contain the runs, but try and be attacking with the ball as well, looking for wickets. Taylor on his way back in from the Douglas end. Cloudy now. And that's well left by Patterson White. big step forward and just raises his bat and his hands out the way of the line of the ball.
Jim, once again, we've just been joined by listeners not only on Sports Extra Stream 2, but also to Sports Extra. We've only just got underway after lunch here. If you caught the last knockings of the morning session, we had Lyndon James struck on the hand, so we didn't actually go to lunch until 6 or 7 minutes later than we should have done. So we've just started in the first over. We had you had a walk around, didn't you? A little bit of a sprinkle of rain during the luncheon interval.
Yeah, try and get my steps in the break, Dave. In comes Taylor again. Again, his shoulders, arms here. Does Patterson White tumbling stop in front of first slip from Roderick. And
meanwhile, I had chicken and chips in here. Thanks to
it takes all sorts.
Thanks to Worcestershire County Cricket Club and their famed hospitality. It was very nice indeed. They looked after us this week.
Yeah, very well looked after. We're a friendly bunch down here, Dave. But grey skies above our heads. We've been very fortunate, actually. We were expecting showers throughout the day, really, from about midday onwards. We got a full session in before lunch. You'd have thought that would have been enough for Nottinghamshire to see this way, but Worcestershire have bowled beautifully. In comes Taylor again, and a driven to mid-off and a sliding stop from Brett D'Oliveira means that it's another dot ball. So apart from that boundary for first up, Taylor back on it. What we've seen is that the four-pronged seam attack of Cumram Shazad, Taylor, Waite and Allison have been exceptional today. So little has been off radar that Nottinghamshire have had to graft and grind out every single run. 41 runs still needed. In comes Taylor again. And in behind this one, Patterson White. So another dot ball. So 4 runs from the over. 95 for 6 is a score. 41 still needed. Now the sun turns up, which is good to see.
Yeah, not sure if Sports Extra listeners were with us right for the start of the post-lunch session. First ball of the session tucked away by Liam Patterson White for 4. There's not been too many of those today, so Notts have got to cash in where they can. If you're with us also a little earlier, mentioned that back in the early days of this fixture, Worcestershire against Notts, back when the world was in black and white, they used to play these fixtures at a place called Amblecote, which I wasn't too aware of, thanks to Grippo before lunch, who gave us the Stourbridge reference. Glyn Berrington has come back with a little more info. Meanwhile, Ben Allison, who's got 2 of the 6 wickets to fall, going to bowl the second over of the session. Lyndon James pushes it into the offside. Glyn says Dave, Amblecote is Stourbridge Cricket Club. Worcestershire famously played there on the day of the Charles and Diana wedding, and Glenn Turner got a ton before lunch that day. Thank you, Lynn. Amblecote, which I've never been to, and don't know if Jim has or not. But
I have. I have. Very, very, very briefly. My in-laws live in Wordsley, which is just up the road.
Allison, lengthy approach, goes even deeper than the pile of sawdust, right back onto the sponsor's logo, and then comes in and bowls a delivery on the hips of Lyndon James, which is turned to mid-wicket. Not sure how much cricket Callum watches, but says, why did they go to lunch, Dave? Another 30-40 minutes or so, and the game would have been finished. Well, I think when you've been out there for 2 hours and given everything as the Worcestershire side did, and not the pace they were scoring, 51 runs in 120 minutes, Callum, it would have taken, I think, rather more than 30 or 40 minutes, but the players deserve a lunch, as I'm sure you do. Callum, enjoy your lunch. 95 for 6, Nottinghamshire. Allison bowls, Lyndon James works it again on the leg side, and here's one of the richest men in Worcestershire, Dan Latigan. He's only a young man full of promise, but he was one of the players that was picked up. Never been to South Africa. I'm not very good with me rand, but he was
converts to about 17 grand he's getting, I think, for that. That's the thing about the franchise cricket that Nathan was talking about yesterday. Nathan Johns, who was here for the first 3 days, thanks to him, and Frank Watson doing a lot of heavy lifting in the first 2 days, is that they tell you how much the players get paid, don't they?
They do, yeah. So, young man, 19 years of age, on county championship debut, and he's been picked up in the South African T20 auction for the forthcoming tournament. This is pushed into the offside. In fact, it runs all the way up to mid-off. So Dan Latigan, a young man with a great future ahead of him, and he's already got, whenever it is, December, January, February, penciled off as a money earner for him.
Yeah, and spent some time at Kidderminster Cricket Club as well. For balance, nearby Stourport on 7. Congratulations to them. They won the Worcestershire County Cricket League Premier Division this summer.
There's Ben Allison in. Lyndon James looking to drive, mistimes it, and for the second time in his innings he hits Liam Patterson-White, the non-striker. This time it was only bibbling and bobbling its way down the track and hit LPW on his heels as he'd turned to go back. But during the early part of this partnership, which is still really in its infancy, Lyndon James was denied 4 runs when he absolutely creamed one back that would have certainly gone for 4, but it hit the non-striker Liam Patterson-White. So Notts almost at that point of the morning. I could say, well, it never rains but it pours. Allison bowls and Lyndon James leaves it alone. The rain delay has been removed from the Surrey versus Warwickshire scorecard at the Oval. Warwickshire 9 without loss. They've been set to score something colossal, 390 or so to beat Surrey. I don't think that's going to happen, but they are back playing at the Oval. Just a quick scan of the cards I can see. Playing at Chelmsford between Essex and Durham. Not playing at Taunton, Somerset, Yorkshire. Been no play since day 2 down at Hove between Sussex and Hampshire. You know what's happening at the Oval and here. Division 2, they're playing at Leicester, Middlesex and Northants.
Tom Taylor to continue from the Diglis end. And again, flips off his pads. Patterson-White picks up another single. Cumram Shazad will do the fielding in the deep. 1 more to the total. 40 runs now required. And there really is very little margin for error for either side here.
What's this partnership now? It feels, let's have a look, 83 for 6 when Ben Slater fell. So they've added 13, but a lot of work still lies ahead of them. 40 more to win.
Taylor to Lyndon James. Thickish outside edge finds its way down to third man, so Cumran Shazad is in the game. He doesn't have to do that trek across the outfield though, Dave, because we've got a third man and a fine leg, which we haven't had too much of. And again, Kadir Ali and Alan Richardson they are having a stroll around the boundary rope, which they are prone to do.
One of the other causes of concern for Worcestershire this morning was they began the day on -4 in their over rate. They got it down to -3 before lunch, but I see it's back at -4.
I think it's win or bust, I think, at this point, isn't it? Round the wicket to left-hander, and another edge, just dabbed down to third man. Another single. So they are racing along now, Dave. Comparatively.
I know what you're trying to do. I know what you're trying to do.
Well,
but it does feel, if you get runs from 2 scoring shots, yeah, absolutely, you suddenly think, oh, hang on, not so. Just getting a little bit of momentum, and then you have a succession of dot balls, as we did so often during the morning session, and you think, well, Worcestershire really turning the screw.
Taylor in and beats the outside edge of Lyndon James. Lyndon James shakes his head. It's on a good length.
JDS, who spends most of his days on a riverboat up and down the waterways, the canals of the British Isles. Oh my days, what a roller coaster! Dodging huge thunderstorms up here. I'm listening to every ball. Now facing lightning. If both can hit their average, another 25-30 overs should get home. Thanks for the commentary this week.
Taylor in again, wide of off stump, left alone by Lyndon James, who's still there, 6 not out.
That's
He's faced 52 deliveries for that 6 as well.
Sorry, Jim, that's thanks to Jiggs and Mark the Mod. Sunny, Sevenoaks in Kent, back pacing up and down in the garden, 1 run at a time for Notts. Strange that Worcestershire are bottom with a bowling performance like this. Come on, Notts. Yeah, they've bowled superbly well as a unit in this game.
Taylor in once more to Lyndon James. Oh, and that's beaten the outside edge as well. Again, a little tentative push and a little bit of movement away into the gloves of Roderick. So a good end to the over from Tom Taylor. Yeah, it's been difficult for Worcestershire really. At the start of the campaign, they were really struggling for batting points, particularly in the first innings, Davis. Their inability to post totals first up put them under pressure. And again, those key moments, the third innings, when you're looking to set a game up, when you're ahead of the game, they haven't quite managed to do it. It's been tricky, though. You have to remember that Nathan Smith and Joe Leach were such a big part of this bowling attack, leading from the front last season and making those adjustments. But this group have gelled well.
Yeah, the coaches always talk about the importance of big first innings runs. Didn't happen in this game. Low scoring match. 98 for 6 as Allison round the wicket to Liam Patterson-White, who got a first innings duck but has moved on fairly sweetly to 11 in this innings. Notts require 38 to win. Worcestershire require 4 wickets. We've had a tie between these two sides this season in the Metro Bank at Welbeck. Extraordinary occasion that was. Notts needed 3-2-7. It was a Duckworth-Lewis-Stern adjustment with a little bit of rain. 3-2-7 was the target then. Next delivery's kept out by Patterson-White, pushing it out to Latigan in the offside, and they scrambled a bye with the last pair at the crease from the final ball of the match, bowled by Khurram Shahzad, to end on 3-2-6 for 9. They had been 141 for 7 chasing that 3-2-7. Quite a remarkable turn of events with Joe Pocklington and Rob Lord the unlikely heroes for Notts. Worcestershire, of course, shrugged off the disappointment of not winning that one, and we'll go to Trent Bridge for the final against Hampshire on the 20th. There's Patterson-White turning this to mid-wicket, and there's no run. Rihan Davalath doing the fielding. 98 for 6. Jim Dale's got his half and half scarf ready for the big day out in Nottingham.
Well, it's one to look forward to, and haven't won anything since the blast just over half a decade ago. Haven't won the One Day Cup in over 2 decades. And we've got a good record at Trent Bridge as well in white ball cricket.
All right.
If you're aware of that,
yeah,
Dave.
all right. There's Allison, passed umpire Ben Debenham. Bowls Patterson-White again, looking to drive, but just hits it on the bounce back to the bowler. And there's no run. Allison seldom gives anything away. His figures are 2 for 25 in his 12th over. But seeing him bowl, actually, your figures are what your figures are, but it just seems as if he's so miserly.
Well, it was a little more expensive yesterday, so going at 3.5 yesterday, going at 1.5 today.
In fact, from this end, it's been really tough going for Notts. Khurram Shahzad's given nothing away in his 11 overs, 1 for 10. Patterson-White will get runs this time, yep. I've still got it. I've still got an assist in me somewhere along the line. That's 4 runs crunched away between extra cover and mid-off and away for 4 runs. Ben Allison just slightly over pitching Liam Patterson-White, easing it away. It was a nice shot, nice quality of stroke there for Patterson-White. The ball bobbling around on the bumpy, uneven extremities of the New Road ground, but finding its way to the fence, and Notts are into 3 figures, 102 for 6, and maybe it will look a little easier with only 34 now required, but 1 wicket and all the jitters will be back again. 34 required. Patterson-White on to 15. Allison bowls to him, and he helped this into the offside, fielded by Latigan. He's got 2 first-class hundreds, Liam Patterson-White, including one this season. Lyndon James only recently scored his first double 100 in first-class cricket, so they're very, very capable, but it's just been a match where partnerships have been so hard to come by and large, and I'm firmly expecting a few nervous twists along the way between now and the finishing line. If Notts are to get home, they need 34 more at 102 for 6.
Well, will be Taylor to continue from the Douglas end. Cumram is warming up. He bowled beautifully at Liam Patterson-White, who's otherwise actually looked pretty solid. We might see him from the New Road end, but it's Taylor for now. And Lyndon James lets that one go through, wide of the off stump.
I would have thought that was a little harsh on Ben Allison, having bowled as well as he has, if he's just been taken off on the strength of that boundary in the last over. But it's difficult, isn't it, when when you're paying the big bucks to a Pakistan Test bowler who's bowled as well as Karam Shahzad has. So that's for Brett D'Oliveira to calculate in his mind, way up, who's going to be my best option to break this stand.
In comes Taylor again. Has driven down the ground and with no real conviction finds its way to Matt Waite at mid-off. But there is Shahzad going through the warm-ups. Well, 34 runs now required. That it's imperative that Worcestershire look to break this partnership. It's worth 19 now. These two doing a good job. In comes Taylor. In behind this solidly is Lyndon James. Fielded at cover by Dan Latigan. No run.
Sub's come running on with a drink. I don't know if he's aware we're only halfway through the over, but
well, it's gone to Ben Allison, so there might be a little message there, mightn't there? Either to say,
who's this young man? Because he'll be in the umpire's bad books. He will. Get off my land. Umps don't like that, do they? Just trotting on mid-over. Get off.
Taylor in once more. Clipped into the leg side. Nice shot from Lyndon James. Should pick up a couple here. And they do. Davalath does the fielding. So 2 more to the total. 104 for 6. 32 now required. And this is proving to be a really useful little partnership. Come out after the lunch break. Look to be positive.
Next 3 runs are big, aren't they? Get it under 30, and I think it looks... Oh yeah, we might. But still White's 32. Still got it in the balance.
Taylor in once more. And this one's left by Lyndon James, being really selective of anything outside off stump. And yeah, you feel with when it's 4 down, with 4 wickets still required, that it starts to when below 30 it starts to put the pressure on the bowlers, doesn't it? You start to think about, I can't afford a bad ball. Yeah. It's whether you can hold your nerve and not overthink it. This sort of deck, just keep putting it in the right place. Last ball of Taylor's 15th over. Clipped into the leg side. It's past Davalath, who chases after it, scampers across the deck. There'll be 2 more. So a productive over this from a Nottinghamshire perspective. It means that it's 106 for 6. The total now required is just 30 runs. And it's going to be Allison to continue by the look of things. But it's getting towards crunch time, isn't it?
Yeah. As that left the bat, I was a little fearful. He clipped it straight to mid-wicket, but he had managed.
It was a little uppish, wasn't it? But there was no danger.
No, he'd worked it square enough. The only one that could potentially be in range would have been the square leg umpire had he been there and not on the other side.
It would have been a great catch and a controversial one, to say the least.
Well, if the square leg umpire had taken it.
Oh, yeah.
106 for 6. Allison to continue. Liam Patterson-White on strike on 15. Round the wicket he comes to the left-hander short, and that's pulled away, heaved away for runs. Lost the flight of it. Umpire already signalling 4. It is a little murky out there, not as dark by any means as throughout the majority of yesterday, but lost the flight of that one, hitting it out onto the cathedral side, square of the wicket. In fact, it's going to take some finding. It's gone there the other side of the covers and the tarpaulins and come to rest somewhere near the seats. the cathedral side of the ground. So 26 now required, and first ball of the over. Ben Allison pulled away. He's stood there, not looking at any of his teammates, head bowed.
Yeah, shaking his head, isn't he? It's not the place to bowl on this deck. And Shazad still goes through the warm-ups. I would have brought him on, I'd have got him in the attack.
First ball of the over then goes for 4. Notts need 26. Patterson White leaves this alone. Wide, but not called as a wide. He didn't chase after it. I think Karam Shazad is imminent one way or another. I think he's going to be in the attack shortly. He's down on the ground doing all the stretching and bending, and a rigorous warm-up routine is underway. The fella who clambered into my car on the first evening and went back to the car park, thought he was getting into Mohammed Abbas's car. 110 for 6. Patterson White stands with his bat raised menacingly and then cuts this one onto the offside and away for 4 more. And this over has gone decidedly away from Worcestershire, and if it was a split decision whether to give Allison 1 more or bring Shazad on, maybe Brett Oliveira's just thinking, no, if only, but he can't go back. 22 more now required. Nottinghamshire up to 114 for 6, and from a lunch score of 91 for 6, these runs seemingly have come fairly quickly compared to what we saw this morning, and a very pedestrian run rate. So Notts only had 51 in 2 hours.
Yeah, it's Patterson White doing the damage here. He's done a fabulous job. Punished anything short.
Allison bowls to him, and he's nicked that one, I think. Yes, up goes the umpire's finger. And there is the moment of redemption for Ben Allison. And there is that twist that Nottinghamshire supporters would have feared, because they're now 7 down. And Liam Patterson White, having made a punchy 23, which looked to be decisive, has pushed at that one outside the off stump. A good line and length by Ben Allison, and Gareth Roderick, as we've seen throughout the match, doesn't spill routine offerings, indeed difficult offerings. He's had a wonderful game with the gloves on. 114 for 7, and now there's the added dimension, the added twist, that it'll be down to the Worcestershire pair. Josh Tong, you'd imagine, first, and then Dylan Pennington. And remember that Mohammed Abbas has got a back twinge. Didn't take to the field at all yesterday. He'll be number 11. Notts will dearly hope that he's not required, but there's pressure on Josh Tong. Just the situation brings enough pressure, but back at New Road, Josh Tong for the first time in Nottinghamshire colours. Dylan Pennington was here last year, but Josh Tong out there might be a bit of chat. I'm sure there'll be a bit of chat. It's not been a good day for the former pairs duo. Joe Clark out for 0, Jack Haynes for 10, and now the third of the quartet. Josh Tong makes his way out to the middle, 114 for 7.
Well, with those 2 boundaries from Patterson White, you felt that maybe the game was going, but this game refuses to go quietly, Dave, doesn't it? Absolutely astonishing stuff. The faintest of nicks through to the keeper, and all of a sudden, game on again. And you had all those messages, particularly just before lunch, Dave, didn't you? Like, Nottinghamshire refused to go do things the easy way. Well, vital breakthrough. Partnership of 31. And Patterson White was doing a great job for his side. Lyndon James is still there, 10 from 59. But as you say, Josh Tong, how's your nerve, young man? Allison, 3 wickets to his name. And perhaps the imminent arrival of Karam Shazad has been knocked back and over.
Yeah, what do you do?
After that success.
Leave me on skip. It's over 1 for 8, 1 ball left. Josh Tong, the right-hander on strike, pushes at that one. Just gropes at fresh air, and it goes through to the keeper. I beg your pardon, there was another ball to come. So an over that's leaked 2 boundaries, bringing the 7th wicket for Worcestershire, the 6th of the day. Notts were 40 for 1 at the start. McCann and Slater surely going to knock it off before the rains come. Well, we're still playing. We haven't lost any cricket thus far. 114 for 7, but we still don't know how it's going to turn out. Knots required 22, and the nerve button is going to be cranked up to very full, as Tong will deflect this down the leg side, and that's, has it been stopped by the rope? The fielder's not looking too confident, and Josh Tong has tickled this nice and fine and gets a boundary, and he's away. So 18 required, so 12 from that over. Crikey, at the start of it, would you have said, if you're a Worcestershire supporter, this over's going to be 1 for 12, would you take that? I think the 12 runs are even more important at this stage. Shazad is coming into the attack, but for the first time, I think the first time in the match, he's going to bowl from the Diglis end.
Well, he has a reputation for keeping his nerve when it matters. And this is the nerviest of times. It's a poor ball, actually, from Ben Allison. He's not bowled many bad balls in this match. He's been superb this morning in the last one. It was down leg side, just needed bat on it. Josh Tong did a good job. Lyndon James, I wonder how much that blow on the hand just before lunch is bothering him. Not his usual fluent self. 2 slips in place.
18 needed.
Third man, long leg, deep mid wicket. Everyone else on the one. In comes Shazad. And that's guided into the open spaces on the offside. Maybe he'll do the fielding. They're happy to give Lyndon James a single.
Yeah, I was just wondering about that. Josh Tong can play, can't he? He's not number 11. Rabbit is perfectly capable. He's had a half century for Notts already this season. Malcolm Shearston have got absolutely no nails left, says Malcolm. Not supporter, obviously, but it'll be the same for the Pairs fans following us.
In comes Shazad. Josh Tong on strike. And in behind that quite solidly. 3 men on the one in the offside. Jake Libby's the one that does the fielding. At backward point. Gives the ball to his skipper at cover. And it'll work its way round to Shazad, who finds his way up to the top of his mark. Still no real concern about the -4 over rate,
no,
Dave, is it? I think they're just thinking either win the game or don't. Bottom of the table. That's what really matters. In comes Shazad again, steaming in. Oh, and that's past the outside edge. Little bit of lift on a good length. Just offered his bat out there, did Josh Tong. Into Roderick's gloves.
Yes, of course. You say he's playing against his former side. Obviously, Brett D'Oliveira and the rest of them will know all about him. Karam Shazad won't be too familiar with Josh Tong and vice versa.
It's a lovely delivery, actually.
Yeah.
Just going in with the arm and just moving away. And he comes again. Fuller this time, and dug out well by Tong, and he knows his job here is just to stick about. 17 required to win. Worcestershire still need 3 wickets, but as we saw from the New Road end, Kamran Shazad just gone for 11 runs in his 11 overs from New Road end. 4 dot balls from the Diglis end thus far.
There's a single to Lyndon first ball.
Oh no, you're quite right. Forgive me. Scoreboard hasn't moved that on his figures though. And he comes again, and Josh Tong's happy to leave that one alone. Yes, you're absolutely right. He found a deep backward point, didn't he?
Pushing the leg side fielder. They'd have a laugh out here. I think Notts would happily take it, wouldn't they, if Josh Tong just drops it on the leg side and gets the single. I don't think they're at the point where they should be refusing runs.
No, I think you're right. Every run matters here.
Nor do I think he's been sent out there because Shazad's going to bounce Josh Tong.
Shazad on his way in. Oh, and that's just past the outside edge as well. On the front foot there, Josh Tong couldn't meet the ball with bat. Little bit of shape away. Into Roderick's gloves again. Good over. Just a single from it. But Tong survives.
Still no matches have finished in the 12th round. Up and down the country, all 18 counties either actively involved or sat in dressing rooms watching it rain. Latest score we have from the Oval is Warwickshire 33 without loss in their second innings. They're playing Surrey, of course. Surrey need all 10 wickets to win that one. That would keep them well clear of Notts, even if Notts win here. But if it's a draw, it'll be fairly tight if Notts can get over the line, which is still very much up for grabs. 17 more required. With Lyndon James on strike, Allison continues and lets this go through to the keeper. In the harsh reality of this game is it could be over in 3 deliveries either way. I mean, it's not expecting it to be, but a hat-trick would win it in 3 deliveries for Worcestershire. 3 sixes would win it for Nottinghamshire. We're right down to that sort of stage now. It's nip and tuck, and it's not going to be easier, certainly for Notts, to get these 17, I wouldn't imagine.
Well, there are singles out there, so Allison has to be accurate. 4 men out in the deep here. 2 slips that have been consistent throughout.
Tall man Ben Allison in again, playing away from his body, Lyndon James, and he punches it out into the offside, and it's gone for 4. Davalath there did his level best out on the boundary rope and unable to haul it in, and it's gone for 4. Nice looking shot from Lyndon James. He's playing away from his body, gets the boundary, so Notts now require 13.
Well, it's a wide delivery just through his hands. It started wide, got even wider, Dave. We've seen 2 wickets in that fashion, actually, from the New Road end. But that's 4 boundaries off Allison in just 8 deliveries.
13 required. Notts 123 for 7. Still got sunshine here at New Road. This one wide enough to be left alone. Imagine we're back once again where the wind predictor would be saying it's in Nottinghamshire's favour, but almost every time we've got to that stage a wicket's gone down, then swinging it back towards parity or indeed Worcestershire. Dylan Pennington and Mo Abbas, I'm sure, will have their pads on. Can't see from our commentary position the Notts balcony, but it'll be a very, very nervy watch, as it has been for everybody today. As Allison bowls again, Lyndon James, who got a 5 for yesterday. He was terrific with the ball. Pushes this to mid-off. Well, quite rightly take all the plaudits if he can get Notts over the line from here. Very often as an all-rounder, you has to play a dominant role with either bat or ball, and on occasions you'll want your middle order man who's good at both disciplines to get you over the line with a match winning performance. LJ has always had it tough at New Road in the past, as he drives this one again into the offside, but out to a Davalath. Will get a single this time. Said on the first day, just having a look down his notes here at New Road in first class cricket, Lyndon James, he'd played here in 4 previous matches, had a top score of 8 and had only taken 4 wickets in those 4 matches. Well, he's certainly righted the record books with regards to that. 5 for 35 yesterday, bowled well in the first innings but only got 1 wicket, and he's certainly batted well in the first innings. 35 from 42 balls, but that will all pale into insignificance if he can get Notts over the line. He's 16 not out. Tong on 4, back on strike with 12 needed. And he's clipped this away. Now there's going to be another boundary to Josh Tong. That's a nice shot through mid-wicket. And Tong, only dealing in 4s here, has hit Allison for another 4. And the last couple of overs from this end have been pretty expensive for Ben Allison and for Worcestershire. And Notts now need 8 to get over the line. They've got 3 wickets left. And Josh Tong and Lyndon James doing the job at the moment for Nottinghamshire. Lyndon James 16 not out, Josh Tong 8 not out, and just 8 more needed.
Well, looking to be aggressive and attack the stumps, isn't he? But as you mentioned, Josh Tong is no mug with a bat by any stretch, and just drifted a little bit too much onto leg. Lovely shot, and 20 runs from 2 overs at this end. Cumran Shazad has ball in hand at the top of his mark. He needs to pull off something special here. Just 8 runs to win. And in he comes. Solid forward defensive from Lyndon James.
Notts have won 4 matches this season, 3 at their headquarters at Trent Bridge. They won at Headingley. When was that? Back in June. All 4 matches with the Kookaburra ball were drawn, high-scoring draws. They needed a big September, really, just to build on what they did in the early part of the season. And they're 8 runs away from winning here.
Shazad in again. And on the back foot punches us into the offside. There's a man out in the deep, which means they'll pick up a comfortable single. And Josh Tong back on the strike, back in the action. He has 8 from 8 deliveries. Lyndon James moves on to 17 from 67. 129 for 7 the score. 7 runs to win. And it feels just a little bit beyond Worcestershire at this point.
I think the most surprising thing is the weather.
I think you might be right there, Dave. In comes Shazad again. And in behind that solidly, it's Josh Tong. It's I feel again it's one of those where go back to the start of yesterday, and Worcestershire looked pretty solid after 45 minutes, and they had a chance to build a reasonable lead and ask Nottinghamshire to chase 150, 160. In the end, 136 never felt like it was quite enough, but goodness me, they haven't half made a game of this. Not done quite yet, but a recent flurry of boundaries. As Shazad's in again, he tests the middle of the pitch, and Tom gets out the way of that one. Big lad, but it was an easy one to duck under that.
Yeah, I've had a hotel room in the middle of the city, and I mean one of those sort of at the end of the corridor rooms, and you look through my window and all I can see is sort of the wall on the angle of the other side. And then I opened the curtains this morning, I couldn't see if it was fine, if it was raining or what. I could just see the wall opposite, but switched BBC Breakfast telly on and you can see the maps with the weather going across the country, and there seemed to be an awful lot of blue and rain across Worcestershire today.
In comes Shazad, clipped into the leg side. Rather hurried there, but they might come back for 2. They are going to come back for 2. James checks with Tongue, but he's happy to come back. And that just one lusty blow could win this game for Nottinghamshire. Tongue on to 10. 131 for 7 the score. Just 5 runs to win. And the sun is out, and we have been very fortunate, Dave, haven't we, with the weather?
Extremely,
everything
yeah.
that we were fearing might happen today, we've had ourselves, although a shortened day, a fabulous few hours of cricket.
It's not finished yet.
In comes Shazad. Tongue on strike. Rast on the pad, big shout in hope rather than expectation. They'll scamper through for a single, so Tongue will keep the strike, and they're probably not too fussed about that. 4 to win now. It's the end of Cumran Shazad's 13th over, and he's bowled 13 overs, 1 for 14, which is a stellar effort.
They just can't really afford another over from Ben Allison, I think, and there is going to be a change at this end. It might be just a little too late for Worcestershire, but you never know. Tongs on strike, 4 required. And we look at the situation here. Notts 132 for 7, and it's going to be Tom Taylor who has got the very proud accolade from this game, if nothing else, of clean bowling a Seabermead twice for naught. Got him clean bowled both innings. A pair for the Notts captain. Will he leave here with the win? Notts need 4. Here's Taylor into bowl, and good start from Tom Taylor past the outside edge and through to the wicket keeper. 132 for 7. It remains. Dave Bracegirdle alongside Jim Dale at New Road for what, one way or another, will be the last knockings of a thrilling county championship match. A low scorer. Sometimes the low scorers are the best. sometimes not, but thankfully, because of all the interruptions, we've not had a full day's play any of the days. There's a drive up to mid-off. There's no run. Cashy Valley has taken 2 catches today. One, Freddie McCann out on the ropes, just had to stand there and take it. The other one, to get rid of Jack Haynes in the covers, was a real juggling effort. There was a lot of sleight of hand and balls going up in the air and coming down, and his left hand, his right hand, his left hand, and then he was falling backwards and almost took it when he was on the seat of his pants, but had several touches before collecting it. Notts need 4. Taylor bowls and Tong helps it into the offside. And again, Dylan Pennington and Mo Abbas will wait on that Notts balcony, wondering if they're going to be needed or if Josh Tong and Lyndon James are going to get Notts home for what at the moment will be a 3-wicket win, and will take Notts, if they win and if Surrey draw, and at the moment Warwickshire still have all 10 wickets intact at the Oval. It's 37 without loss to Warwickshire there. There would be 1 point between them going into next week's match between the top 2 at the Oval, but Notts aren't there yet. They need 4, and Josh Tong plays this almost off the sticker, wasn't it? It was right up high on the top of the bat. Again, pushes it up to Cash Alley at mid-off. There's not many in. I said before lunch, you pretty much count the number of spectators, certainly those we can see from the new road end. There's certainly not 20 in the Basil D'Oliveira stand at the far end, which is usually well populated because they've got a great vantage point in there. I suspect there's a few more at this end, wondering if this will be the last ball of the match. Taylor in, and Tong, being very respectful for the 3rd time in a row, plays it up to Cash Alley at mid-off. Just coming up towards,
just looking to make sure, isn't he? Yeah, you don't want to give it away now. There's been enough twists and turns in this run chase that he's done a very good job for his side. Dave, you're not far away from an update, are you?
No.
And you want to see this one home. Tom Taylor will have other ideas. 49 wickets to his name in this competition thus far.
Last ball of this Taylor over. He's come back over from this end. He's in and bowls to Josh Tong, who drives it elegantly, and it's beaten the offside ring and will go all the way to the rope. And Josh Tong punches the air as he runs to the far end. Lyndon James does the same, coming to this end. A warm embrace between the two, and Notts have got over the line. They've certainly not had things easy today. They really haven't. Worcestershire superb this morning, getting Notts in all sorts of difficulty by lunch. 5 wickets for the hosts, left Notts at 91 for 6 before lunch. A couple of fluent boundaries from Liam Patterson-White straight afterwards. He fell for 23. There was still work to do, but Lyndon James, 17 not out. Josh Tong, 14 not out, has got Notts over the line for their 5th win of the season, and they still cherish hopes of being able to pip Surrey and get their first county championship title since 2010. Jim, I'll leave you to wrap up here whilst I go and speak to listeners in the East Midlands. Notts have won this by 3 wickets.
Well, you have to say it's been an absolutely enthralling game of cricket for all the frustration yesterday. Less than 39 overs in the day. Off for rain, off for bad light, time after time after time. We've had uninterrupted cricket here, and it's been cricket of the highest order. So Nottinghamshire started the day at 40 for 1 overnight. Slater and McCann doing a really good job of steadying things after Hasib Hamid was bowled by Taylor for naught early on in this short run chase. Well, this morning it was all about the Worcestershire bowling unit. 4 seamers used, and they were metronomic. They were absolutely superb. They managed to rip the heart out of this middle order of the Nottinghamshire batting lineup. So McCann was first to go. He was caught by Kashif out in the deep, trying to hook a ball from Matt Waite. Slater stuck about for a long time. 94 balls he faced to get 36. In the end, he was undone by Tom Taylor, caught at the wicket by Gareth Roderick. Joe Clark, on his return to Worcestershire, got a duck. Cumran Shatad had him trapped LBW. Allison, although expensive towards the end of this innings, 3 vital wickets. He saw off Jack Haynes, the catch that Dave was describing just a few moments ago, the juggling effort by Kashivali at cover, grabbing it on the 4th attempt, and he removed Carl Verena's middle stump. And Patterson White did a lot of work to take the heat out of this chase from a Nottinghamshire perspective. He made 23. In the end, he feathered through to Roderick off the bowling of Allison. In the end, it took 52 overs for Nottinghamshire to reach their winning total of 136. They did it 7 wickets down. So the bowling figures: Tom Taylor, 16 overs, 2 for 45. Kumram Shahzad, economical as they come, 13 overs, 6 maidens, 1 for 14. Allison, 3 for 50 in the end. And Matthew Waite, 9 overs, 1 for 24. A really sterling, stoic and courageous bowling effort from those 4 seamers from a Worcestershire perspective. In the end, though, Nottinghamshire chasing Surrey in the hopes of becoming county champions this summer get over the line, and they do so in glorious sunshine, which has been against all the odds in the 4 days or so we've had at Visit Worcestershire New Road. It just leaves me to say thank you to our listeners across Herefordshire and Worcestershire, Nottinghamshire, and on Sports Extra as well. It's been an absolute pleasure to cover this game that has gone right to the wire on day 4. And my thanks, of course, to Dave Bracegirdle, to Frank Watson, who covered the first 2 games, and Nathan Johns, who was along for the ride in the commentary box as well. I've been Jim Dale. It's been a joy to bring you County Championship coverage from Visit Worcestershire New Road. We'll see you for the next round of games next week.
Looks as if